Did you even attempt to reach out to Liam this time?
No, like the last 2 times or 3 times.
He hasn't been here for the last 8 podcasts.
I've just been kind of like, well, he'll come back when he wants to.
That's
you
true,
know,
that's
I mean, I trust our boy. You know,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
he's
I
you know.
texted him. I texted him this picture on Snapchat. I texted him this picture and I said, "This is you," and he was like, "What? Like black key? What do you?" I said, "Low key fell off." You fucking low key fell off.
Damn. He high key fell off.
Michael, last time I saw Michael, he said he wanted to come when I was on the show, and I definitely want to.
Damn, I didn't even think to ask Michael. I should have asked
It
him.
would be a
Yeah,
fun
I think
episode.
You know who I asked?
I was over
instead?
there today too. I went to Quentin's house, so I was over at there,
Yeah.
next to Michael's house.
Yeah.
I could have totally just picked him up.
You know who I did ask?
Who?
Marissa.
For this episode?
Yeah, I thought she would
That
be.
might not be.
Why?
I
She's
think
cool.
Marissa and Alejandro would be good friends. I don't know if the podcast conversation would be great.
Well, no,
Marissa
but-
is less. What's the word? She is less malleable when you talk politically with her,
Right.
than Alejandro is. Alejandro can hear a point that he disagrees with and not immediately go like, "You're very dumb for that."
No.
Marissa
Well, no,
is
but
straight
that's
up.
what I'm
Marissa
saying,
is
like,
straight
this
up
is-
like antagonistic.
This is like who he's
I love you,
trying
Marissa,
to, This
but-
is who he's trying to reach, and I was like, she's off for the summer. Might as well fill her in for like a third.
right.
I'm not gonna lie, you totally got me again. I don't know if he felt. I didn't know he started recording.
There you go.
You totally got me again.
We're like a
yeah.
minute and 40 seconds in. Anyways, that first minute and 40 seconds just talking mad shit about people that we've had on the podcast.
Fuck
before.
Aline. Fuck Marissa.
Really, it was Charlie talking mad shit. I was over here like, oh, he'll come back, and then like really excited to have
I just
Marissa
miss
on.
my friend, and he's being a bitch.
Yeah, I also miss Holly. I don't know you, Marissa, but yeah, I also miss you. Michael, come on. All y'all, come on. That'd be great. Let's have a freaking party on here.
Yeah,
That would be a
Alright.
wild podcast.
that would be a fun.
The three of us, Alim, Marissa, and Michael would be ridiculous.
It would be so fun though.
It would be quite funny.
I don't know how productive, but definitely
Not productive. No,
No.
points would be made. It would just be a lot of talking over people and yelling. Specifically, me and Michael.
You guys might start saying slurs. I don't know.
What?
Yeah.
What does that mean? What do you mean?
Like, not like derogatory slurs, just slurs in general,
Do you know what a slur?
I don't.
Like,
Yeah.
I feel
Well, it's just like when you say, like, oh, that's gay, but you don't mean it in a derogatory way. You're just like,
true. Yeah.
You
No.
see what I'm saying?
Gays definitely making a
like
comeback
you
as
and-
like a normal phrase that is
you-
no longer like super homophobic.
But you and Mike would definitely be the ones to, like, break that seal and be like, well, let's see what happens.
How dare you? Michael, maybe not me. I'm
Michael, definitely. Michael, it would be like
Yeah.
on the tip of his tongue in like the first 2 seconds.
Especially after hearing this, I feel like Michael will be like, "We gotta get this out of the way." Gay.
He was very clear. He'd be like, "Hey, what words are we allowed to say on this show?" That's like always. Michael's done that on multiple versions of the podcast.
I feel like Michael would be like, what's like the most offensive thing I could say, but like won't offend you, He would ask Alejandro.
Every time he's been on this podcast since this season started, he always goes like, "Well, I don't want to talk about anything offensive, but like, where do you stand on Israel-Palestine?" Like he always does. He's like, "So what you're saying is from the land of the sea," and he's like, and he like hopes that I fill in the next part. And I just look at him like,
Go on.
and literally go on. He always wants you to finish the end of the really horrible sentence.
Welcome to Shirts Off, season 3, episode 26. Yeah, so we kind of are jumping around. I just put 26 because the last one we recorded was 25. We're missing a couple episodes because of technical issues. Anyways, we're coming in.
Feels like
hot.
we've done 600 of these.
Yeah, we're coming in hot off the heels of the No Kings protest, and we're joined again today by Alejandro. Charlie is also here.
Okay.
And, how's it been? How was the kicks again at the No Kings protest in Rock Hill?
It was fun, dude. Like, it was genuinely super, super fun. Because I'm sad I missed the March part of it. I got there a little bit late. But, man, the crowd was crazy. It was way more than we expected. Not just in Rock Hill, but all over the place. We had... Numbers are estimated 800 to 1,000 in Waxhaw, 2,000 to 2,500 in Rock Hill, a couple tens of thousands in Charlotte. Like, it was crazy. Like, it was a great show out. As soon as we showed up, there was these 2 trucks driving around with like a Mexico and American flag driving around, and immediately I was like, dude, let me hop in the back of the truck so I can record. And they were like, let's do it. And I had a little like selfie stick, so I pointed it to the crowd, and they thought it was like the official recording. And I'm like, no, just some dude with terrible audio, just trying to get a cool video. But yeah, it was super, super cool.
Your setup was sick, by the way. I mean, it was very mobile. Like, I went up there. I didn't even know he was there. I was just dropping Caitlin off at work. And then I called him to be like, hey, man, this protest thing is crazy. You want to come on the podcast and talk about it? And he was like, yeah, I'm at one right now. And I was like, oh, shit, which one? And I was literally driving right by the protest. And I was like, I'll be there in like
Those
2
might
minutes.
as well have been walkie-talkies, not phones.
And he had like mics like on his nipples and like, you know, a
nice.
little selfie stick thing. It was cool. I mean, but it wasn't a selfie
Plastic
stick.
nipple mics.
It reminded me of selfie stick when I saw it, but it was actually a very nice tripod.
Yeah, it's nice. It's definitely. I could use better equipment.
Yeah.
The mics suck. I'm not gonna lie. The audio, all the audio I got kind of sucked, but I got some audio, and I got some pretty good, interesting videos. I just gotta figure out how to edit it well into a video. I actually got some people now who are helping me make videos and edit my videos, so hopefully I'll be able to get some content and produce some stuff real well. I actually met them through like the organizations, and they were like, hey, I got too much time, let me help you out. So that's gonna be cool. Yeah, because we had at the one in Rock Hill, at least, we only had like 2-3 instances happen. One person got arrested, one person almost got arrested, and it was actually hilarious because the only person who got arrested was a guy who got out of his car, just started walking around and started harassing a bunch of people, talking about, you know, Trump's my daddy and he's your daddy too. So he was just started harassing and yelling at people. So the cops arrested him for disorderly. And then some other guy was riding his bike along the protesters, and the cars that we were riding around with, he got the cops and like put his bike right in front of the black truck. And he's like, you gotta arrest this guy. His DNA's over there. And we're like, what the fuck are you talking about?
His DNA?
Yeah, he's like, his DNA's over there. And we're like, what are you talking about? He's like, that guy just threw that Fanta bottle at my face while I was riding my bike. And even the cop looked at him. He was like, dude, there's 2,000 people here.
Yeah. Like,
and you're the only person who saw this man on the main road where the protest is throw a bottle at you. Like, come on. Like, we don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, he was just obviously trying to agitate. We had
everybody, so many of the people in town were like, have you heard about the protests? Like, you think anything crazy is going to happen? You think there's going to be a shooting? I was like, bro, listen. 95% of the shootings and the cars running over places and they're in way bigger population areas, if they're going to happen at all. And it's always because those people know more people are going to see it. If there were 6,000 people there, 10,000 people there. It's not going to happen in Rock Hill. It's not going to happen in Lancaster.
Yeah.
This is not going to be a thing that happens here. Don't be worried. It's a protest. Part of our country is being allowed to protest. That is a very important aspect of free speech. Right. And if you can't, like the act of protesting is like demonized nowadays on both sides.
Yeah.
As if it's some kind of like crime to do it in the first place.
Yeah, because it was especially crazy because I made a post about it on the Lancashire group chat or whatever.
Yeah, I saw.
And the engagement on
was
that, man.
wild.
Ooh, like the number of people who were like, have fun, I'm cleaning my rifle right now. And I'm like, why would you, like, what is the point of that? Like that, like that is literally what causes things to escalate. Because there were people like, we'll show up with our guns as a counter protest. It's like, that's genuine aggravation. Like, people are just peacefully protesting, regardless if you agree or don't agree with them. Like, have your little protest. Why would you show up with guns, like, being like, come on, fuck around, just waiting for just, if a balloon pops, you're gonna pull your gun out and shoot, you know? Like, it's just bad gun owners.
Well, and, like, that's the bad part about it. It's like, it gives, it for anybody looking at on the outside, if you're on the left, you're thinking about that whenever you're trying to kind of mend bridges, you know, because now more than ever, I feel like we need to be coming together.
That's both sides. That's not just.
Well, no, I know, but I'm just saying
protesting in general is like a hot button scare tactic
but,
now because there have been so many public violent outbursts at these protests.
But what I'm talking about is specific to the situation he's saying, where like people come online like we're going to show up with our guns, you know what I mean, and like just escalate it for no reason.
Could you imagine? Like back, like with the Black Panther Party, like during civil rights, if like Facebook had existed, we don't hear about any big, giant, horrible things that happened, but you know they did. You know there were fights. You know there were like probably shootings, stabbings, something that happened that was not televised because it would have been bad for the movement. Nowadays, there's nothing stopping you and me making it. Everything is televised because everyone has the power to do it.
And that's like two big points I always bring up to people because they're always like, the protesters are super violent. And I'm like, dude, this is the most live streamed protest we're ever gonna see in our lives. Like, there's a million streamers who are like up at 9 a.m. and we're gonna stay there till past midnight just streaming the whole thing live.
Yeah.
You can see where the escalation is, who the bad actors are. You can see all that. 99% of everything is always super calm, super peaceful.
Yeah.
And then there's always just a big increase in escalation and violence. And the other thing is, people complain so much about, not that I condone violence. That's a given, right? I don't want violence to happen. I don't want people to get hurt. I don't want things to get destroyed. But a lot of the shit we got now is due to somebody flipping out. It's due to somebody causing violence. It's due to somebody getting pushed up. The Black Panthers are a great example, you know? Those guys accomplished a lot for society. A lot. And when you're taught about them, they're either brushed off super quickly, or you just learn that they were kind of a radical extremist group that were kind of like Martin Luther King, but they don't like associating with him because they were too violent for Martin Luther King. But it's just sometimes that violence. I mean, the inception of the country was started through violence.
Yeah,
That's true.
every country.
Yeah, like it was all just they revolted, they fought for rights, and that's just it's the cycle that always repeats. Every time you see dangerous grab of power, every time you see power being abused, there's always going to be people fighting back. And when you fight back against power, it gets violent.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite sayings by like Malcolm X is, nonviolent protest only works if your enemy has a conscience. America does not have one. And it sucks because you could very easily. It's only just like the handful of people who caused the violent protests is like the handful of people who are causing this disconnect of viewing these protesters as like violent criminals and all this stuff. Like, it's alarming how a lot of people have shown their true colors, for sure. Like they're a lot of people when they're scared of communism, socialism, quote unquote, and just people fighting for their rights, they'd rather give in to somebody getting overly zealous with power and just letting them run free with it.
Well, not to make this conversation about Star Wars, but I mean, like, you know,
Star Wars.
Yeah,
That's Star
the
Wars.
first three, like the prequels are about this sort of thing. Like, literally, you know.
Well, the whole fucking story of Star Wars is about this.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, like, specifically those three things, because I mean, those first three movies, because of the way that, like, you know, events are kind of sensationalized in a way to make people scared and make people want to flee to a bigger authority because it makes them feel safe.
Yeah, and it's just weird because it's both on the right and the left, like you say, that why are you listening to like the mainstream news?
Mm-hmm.
Like you always have this like suspicion, this like almost conspiracy theory mind brain, but once your bias is confirmed, all of a sudden you're like, well, there's never been a conspiracy here. There's never been an issue here. Like, it's all okay with me. And it's just, I don't understand that thought process for sure. Especially somewhere here in Lancaster. When was the last time you heard of any, like, real clashes between political parties here in Lancaster?
Man, don't get me started.
Well, that's part of why I wanted to have you on, because, you know, there's so much out there in the news. Is like, this protest is violent. There's riots happening in L.A., you know, ICE is being run out of different places. Like, you know, we need to show people that there's a peaceful side to all this.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
I mean, I was there in Rock Hill when the protest was going on. I honestly didn't know what to expect, so I was kind of like, well, you know, here goes nothing. You know, I think was the first, like, real protest I've ever been to, and I mean, you know, it was a fine experience. I walked around, I talked to you, and, you know, I got to meet the first chair for
he's the first chair.
First chair for the Democratic Party of Lancaster. So, you know, it was cool. It was fun. You know, fun probably isn't like the best way to describe it, but like, you know,
I think fun is a good way to describe it, because that's kind of the vibe for a lot of people who are like very doomer, like have a lot of like doomerism, really.
Yeah.
Because they're like, you know, everything's falling apart. Might as well go out, have some fun, fight against this in whatever way you can. Like, it's mainly all just about the awareness and knowing that people know what's going on out there. And I was lucky enough to take actually a good handful of people with me.
Yeah.
So it was also interesting seeing them because they were freaked out. Like, a couple of them were like, what if this happens? Like, what if the cops show up and they start shooting at it? And I'm like...
Rightfully, like, and the fear of that is, like, very reasonable fear nowadays.
Yeah.
Like, but I think there's a push. I think there's a I can feel this push happening in like people's discussions about these things. There is more of a push now for like reasoning with the other side. Like you're starting to hear it from all the different perspectives of now. It is lesser and lesser, or less often and less often you're hearing like, fuck that guy, he's a Democrat, fuck that guy, he's a Republican. It is now becoming, fuck that guy, he thinks this. It's becoming the issues rather than the who they identify / are politically. And honestly, like if you're gonna complain about a guy, like if Alejandro and I disagree about abortion, I shouldn't go, yeah, fuck Alejandro, he's a Democrat. I should go, man, fuck Alejandro, he thinks abortion is fucking bad or good or whatever it is I don't agree with on that.
Right.
At least that's the right direction, because that is way less under the umbrella of being a Democrat.
Right.
Like, it is not like all of the situations or things that Democrats agree with. It's this particular one I disagree with. And like, not that you should ever say fuck you, but if you're gonna like positively go in a direction of like fuck you, it should be disagreeing with an issue rather than an entire ideology of politics.
Especially because like I know when you say fuck you to me, that one, you're not like attacking me as a person, like, and we can actually have a conversation. A big issue that is people are saying fuck you, and that's just where they want to leave it all.
And I'm not saying fuck you, Alejandro. I'm saying it is for that conversation and statement. I would be like, Alejandro, are you sure that's what you? Is that really you think the most reasonable take on that? I wouldn't. And again, that is not. We probably think pretty much the same on that specific issue. That was simply an example. Right. I don't want this to become a thing for anyone listening.
You told Alejandro, fuck you.
That was actually something really cool out there too. Like the amount of people who were like, and I think part of the reason you're seeing that willingness to work with the other side now is that
people are tired of fucking bickering
and
fighting for and then realizing they think the same thing about 90% of the issues.
Because that's something that I've been trying to do and trying to get people to do with me is like, I just want to hear about what you believe in, what the issues actually are, not just like, I fucking hate Democrats or I fucking hate Republicans. What is it that we have an issue with? Because like you said, we're probably going to agree with a lot more than we disagree with.
There's a guy who I used to deal cards to, and I like him. He's a cool guy, and he's, for a pretty strictly Republican dude, he's pretty progressive for a Republican. But, like, you hear him say specific weird little statements that would, usually you'd put him under one umbrella, but I know him. So I know he doesn't really think that umbrella definition, but his little complaint would be, man, I was watching this real good show, and they did it again. They put some fucking gay shit in the show. And I was like, well, his name isn't Max, but I'm going to say Max so I can say a name. I was like, well, Max, what do you think? Like, what was gay? What do you mean it was gay? He was like, there was this character, and you really fuck with her because she's real funny and cool, and you find out she's a fucking lesbian. And I was like, well, what's wrong with being a lesbian? It's like, I don't care that she's a lesbian. I don't want them telling me that she's a lesbian to try and shove down being lesbian, being good in my face. And I was like, okay, well, like, do you care that she's a lesbian? He's like, no, lesbians are cool. And I'm like, why is this a problem for you? It's like they're picking a thing. They're not comfortable yet with it being advertised. They're cool, and in this context of this area that we were in, it's in a room full of people that really actively don't fuck with gay people. And he's being the kind of progressive guy in the room full of definitely people who don't fuck with gay people going like, I don't mind lesbians. I don't mind gay dudes. They're cool. They're nice. I know them. They're my family. I'm not gonna, I don't hate them.
See it.
I don't want to see it on TV. I don't want it in my show about the cartel. It's funny to see that perspective because, like, if anything, to me, that's only positive change.
Right.
Because, like, look, you're moving in the right direction if you, like, don't give a fuck. You just don't like it in your show that's not about, and to an extent, I agree with there's a way to do inclusivity the right way.
100%.
Like Deadpool 2, famously, Cinema Wins on YouTube, he has one of my favorite takes. He says, this is how you do inclusivity in a film. When you make a character in the show or movie gay, don't make the fact that they're gay the reason they're there.
Yeah.
In Deadpool 2, Negasonic Teenage Warhead goes, this is my girlfriend Yukio, and they never talk about it again. And now there is a gay couple, and they're in the movie a bunch, and they're funny, and they're cool, and like they exist in the film. They are not the focus. The fact that they are there is not like a gay is good. It is simply they are there and they are gay. That's how you do inclusivity. Have a gay character, shut the fuck up about it.
Especially because at that point, if you complain about them being gay in the show, it's like, okay, you're just
ignorant.
Right, exactly.
You're like,
you
why
just
are
have
you
your own
mad
problem.
about this? Yeah, it's like you're just mad that it is happening. That is where the issue now lies, not in the fact that it's in the story. And now in other stories, like I'm trying to think of a good one.
Cora's gay.
Yeah, but they don't.
Well, they're bi. I mean,
yeah, but it's also not like in your face. I'm saying I'm trying to think of like the negative version because there's times where
honestly, what I think of is like badly written characters but I mean, it's not just the gay ones in those stories. It's usually like across the board,
just badly written characters in general.
I want really well written characters. I don't care if they're gay or not. You know.
Yeah.
Well, that was the thing with The Last of Us Part 2. Everybody got all mad that they're The Last of Us. I'm about to get mad. You ready for this? I'm about to get mad. Okay, Last of Us Part 2 got review bombed like a motherfucker the day it came. Like the minute it went live on IMDb as a reviewable thing, it got review bombed because it got leaked and people read the script and they assumed that Abby, the main protagonist / main character, was trans, and she's not. She's just fucking ripped.
Right.
And they assumed she was trans because they looked at her and saw like a dude woman.
She's written well enough that it really doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter at all. Yeah, she's one of the most like enthralling characters in modern fiction, in my opinion. Look, I'm gonna suck The Last of Us dick all day. I love that game. I love the franchise. And then later in the game, there is a trans character and no one cares. Like they get mad because they think that the main character is trans.
There's a trans character in Last of Us 2?
Yeah.
Who?
Lev.
Oh, cool. I didn't know.
It's a part of the story.
Is it?
Yes.
Oh, it's been a long time since I watched a playthrough for that game.
Goodness.
I just remember Abby and I remember Ellie wanting revenge. And
You didn't watch. You lied to me.
I did watch it. I sat here for 6. Well, not at this house.
I
I sat at a different house for 6 hours and watched that. Or 8 hours.
Then you definitely didn't. So that's not nearly enough time to watch that game.
He's one of these people who's like, you got to play it or else you don't experience it.
No, there's 12 hours of cinematics in that game.
Yeah, that's just the cinematics.
Yeah, just the cinematics.
I'll just watch the show.
The game takes 20 hours to... Well, it's going to take 4 years to watch the show.
I'll just watch the show and catch up with you then.
Okay, we'll see.
But anyways, I like Abby. You could have been
Abby's
like,
great.
Abby's gay, and
Lev,
I'm like,
the
cool.
trans character's great. Lev is an amazing character.
Yeah.
The game's amazing. Ellie's a lesbian. Like, it doesn't matter.
But what I'm saying is, like, you could have looked at me and been like, she's trans, she's gay, she's whatever, and it wouldn't have hurt
you're a
her
reasonable
character,
good person, Creighton. I
Exactly.
wasn't. This wasn't a me and Alejandro attack Creighton.
No. I'm talking about like if we're talking about like well written characters, like it doesn't matter what she is because her character is so compelling in itself that it like you could have been like she has 2 left feet. So
this is one of those times like that the exception to the rule is the only version I can come up with because now I can't think. I know that there are badly written / badly included gay characters in cinema, and I just can't think of it.
I can think of one, but she's not really gay. It's more so people got mad because she was black, and it was Reva in Star Wars. Like in the, I know I keep bringing up Star Wars, but in Kenobi.
That's a good reason, but that's not.
But people were like mad at like they're like, why is there a black Inquisitor? Blah blah blah.
But people that were mad about that are just racist.
Right.
Yeah,
it's not because she's.
But she's not a well written character, and like
Sure.
I just wish that show was better. She could work.
I like how Creighton's just like, this point you're trying to make about like about gay characters not being written well, being why people should be mad about it in the first place.
That's why they should be mad. I want good representation.
I just am mad about this bad part of Star Wars. That has nothing to do with what you're talking about. Now, the people that complain about that were complaining because she was black, unless they were actually fans of Star Wars, in which case then the few of them like you were actually complaining because she was just written poorly.
Yeah,
because I agree with you. She performance-wise, she does amazing.
Yeah,
she
does
everything she can. That actress is amazing. She does everything she can.
With the writing.
Did you watch The Queen's Gambit?
I have seen.
It's her best friend.
Okay.
She plays.
She's a good actress. Yeah, she's a great actress.
She just really sells the scene she's in. It's just the what she's working with is just
trash.
It's
unfortunate.
It's so stupid. She gets stabbed like 2 times. That should be like
the kind of stab that kills you.
Yeah. And it's just okay.
Like it's ridiculous. It's like why is she mad? Is it because she was?
I rewatched it with Caitlin recently, and she gets stabbed and right away goes to tattooing to try to kill Luke. And I'm like, How? What is happening?
She didn't even there wasn't even a montage of her in a bacta tank or anything to heal this. This is ridiculous.
She just shows up on Tatooine to kill Luke.
And she's just limping a little. She's barely
She's not even bleeding.
She starts off limping, then just hits a full sprint.
It really was something like that.
is
It's the stupidest
very
shit I've
silly.
ever seen.
It's real dumb. It's
Reva's
real
a
silly.
pincushion. It makes no sense.
It's absurd. It is. Okay, hold on.
Sorry.
We're getting off topic. We can't get mad about Star Wars stuff when we're trying to make greater points.
It's hard to find examples of it, I think, just because people tend to get upset at not good examples of it.
Exactly.
Like, they just want to get upset.
I know there are good examples because I've had examples in the past, but now that it's the classic. Who's that actor? Usually, I could tell you. I don't know how the fuck to name who it is.
One
right
example I like to think of is one of my favorite shows of all time. It's just a huge comfort show for me. Is Modern Family.
I fucking
Modern
love
Family's
that.
incredible.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite shows of all time. I hate how shitty of parents they make Cam and Mitchell. Because once Lily grows up a little bit, they neglect her, and it's like a running joke of the show where they're like, "Where's she at? Where's she at?" And it's just because they're so caught up in their own lives.
Because they're both drama queens.
Exactly, and it's I think they do a good
Yeah.
job at depicting a gay couple, but gay parents, I don't know, especially
They
because
shouldn't be parents.
It does come off like singing.
Yeah, exactly.
That's definitely what people will point to it and say.
yeah, it'd be especially because any gay parent I've met, they're like, "Can you believe it took us 5 years to adopt one kid?"
Can you believe it took us 5 years and 11 tries to adopt a kid that a bunch of people used our money to have and then keep because they're allowed legally to?
Right.
It's a fucking scam.
Yeah, it's a fucking.
Wait, adoption?
Adoption for gay couples is it is so hard for it to really happen. Because here's
Yeah.
what happens. Me and Alejandro want to adopt a baby. We're a couple, we want to adopt a baby. You and your girlfriend get pregnant and fucking don't want to keep the baby. We offer to pay all the bills, all the medical bills, offer to take you to all the classes, make sure your nutrition's good.
Right.
And at the end of the day, when that baby comes out, you still get to decide in the last moment whether you want to keep it or not. So, couples will, to have everything paid for, go to the adoption agencies, say they want to adopt out their kid, let you pay for all the shit, and then they want to keep their baby. Mm-hmm. And it's a fucking scam. It happens all the time, and there's nothing safeguarding the situation to, save the, gay couple their money. And it's not just gay couples, but it happens a lot to gay couples.
Right.
Way more to gay couples than any other couples.
Damn.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
it's a fucking scam.
Even-
And to be fair, there's just no safeguards against it. So honestly, it's shitty to do, but it's also kind of smart to do if you want to have a baby. It's not hey, all you scam artists, don't do it. But you can do it, and it's a good idea.
Yeah,
but you shouldn't.
The
It's
number
bad.
one way to pay medical bills in America is GoFundMe. You have to
Yeah.
hustle your way to figure out how to have a fucking child.
Or a kidney.
Yeah, exactly. Dude, I can't afford to die right now.
Or even worse, you can't afford to fucking survive.
Dude, have you seen that video of that lady who got caught in the railroad system, and people around them are calling 911, and she's like, please don't tell them to come. Please don't tell them to come. It's just
This
a scratch.
will ruin me financially.
It's
No, I've never seen that video.
There's a lot of situations.
You can see half of her body literally in between the train, and she's like, "No, please don't call them."
She's like, I'll die.
Yeah, it's just
This will be a much worse burden on my family than me dying.
Terrifying.
yeah. Give me an hour. Just let me yell for a straight hour, and I'll probably just die then. It's fucking terrifying.
And for some reason, these immigrants want to come here. Is the argument.
Dude, oh my god, the amount of conversations I've had about immigration is so funny. My favorite is how people believe in Schrodinger's immigrant. They're simultaneously living off of welfare and taking everyone's jobs at the same time.
Yeah.
How does that work? They're
I've never heard it phrased like that, but that's not my favorite phrase.
It's the classic. How do we both have the highest rate of child hunger and the worst obesity problem in the world?
Yeah,
it's pick an argument. Stop having both sides. It's you can't contradict yourself with your, because that's a big thing on the right is this argument. A big thing on the left is, but the kids, they're starving. But the fat people, they're too fat. It's pick which thing you want to do. It's all, everyone wants the argument to work in their favor in the moment, not in reality. That's the problem.
Yeah,
on all the sides of all the issues.
Yeah, because even with abortion, there's most people who are pro-life are not pro-life at all. They're pro-birth, But once the baby's born, good fucking luck.
Later, fuck that baby.
Right.
Like, it's ridiculous.
Because even like people now are like, dude, Donald Trump's doing the most he's ever than any president has done for children. He's starting a $1,000 bank account, a $5,000 bank account for babies that are born now. Dude, it costs like $13 just to have the baby born. Like, what is $5,000 going to do for me? But in order to pay for those $5,000 to each kid, they're cutting food stamps, Medicare, Medicaid for children, all that stuff. So
It's taken away from them.
Yeah, so it's $5,000 in a bank account that you can't touch till you're 18 worth, having all these benefits to help these children live.
Only if, like, that $5K is immediately invested in an account, like, that is growing by the time they're 18, not just, like, a $5K blanket locked away. I could get into a lot of fiscal conversation. I don't know enough about this issue to have an opinion on it.
For sure,
but I think he's right, though, in that if they were investing it,
if it's like a $5K that's immediately in an IRA,
but like, and
it's kind of worth doing.
We need to know how much of the benefits were being cut to.
That's for sure, but I think the better solution there would be just healthcare. Better education system.
So they don't have to spend
exactly.
If we had to prioritize one thing in this country, like forget about all the blanket issues, if there was one thing, if the issue was as easy as we need to focus more on one thing than anything else, I think more than anything else it's education.
Yeah.
This country, since the Department of Education was founded, has been on a decline, a slope down. It has never plateaued or gone up a degree or a percent in 44 years. We have gotten dumber. If you look at a picture of a class of students from the 50s, they were all ripped, they were all outside on jungle gyms, and they were all fucking geniuses. And if they weren't, it was because they were specifically, like, educating themselves to be farmers. And that was a different kind of... Maybe you weren't 180 IQ in the scale of intelligence that we use in IQ, but you could you were really good at the thing you were being, like, trained to do. And we don't have that anymore. It's like a blanket... Like, you can read at a 5th grade level, fucking sick, go work. Like, that's what it's been for, like, 40, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. And I think
we're just getting dumber and dumber.
Lancaster does a pretty decent job with that, though, because we have, like, a couple programs that can help people who are like, hey, if you're not a school person, we got programs for that. Like, in Lancaster, we have the welding, we have carpentry, electricity, you can get all those certificates.
And we're an outlier.
Agriculture.
Yeah.
We're an outlier in that way, though. That's the problem.
Agriculture's a good one, too.
Buford has, like, their own farming program.
Dude, I'm telling you, AJ has a bring your tractor to school day. Like, they have... A bunch of kids show up in tractors to school, like they have agricultural classes out there. Like Lancaster definitely is an outlier in those aspects. Because I can think of my brother. My brother is, I love him to death, but one of the dumbest people I know. He's generally like one of the dumbest people I know. But like if I call him, like if my car breaks down on the side of the road and I can call him, he just has put the phone to the motor. And and he'll just listen to it for 10 seconds.
What kind of fucking autism is that? Exactly. That's the best autism.
It's crazy. Like, and I've seen him, like, I pulled up on a dirt bike once that I found, and it was falling apart. And he was like, yeah, let me get it for, like, a day. I came back the next day, it was running, fully powered. He built a moped from scratch. Like, he's genuinely, like, when it comes to motors and stuff, he's great. When it came to school...
I have a cousin like that. He used to take VCRs apart and put them back together, and then he could fix any VCR. It was magic. I was like, "Whoa, okay, you're a gangster."
And he was like,
"Now it's in 3D."
And he was just a bunch of people talking about, like, dude, you're not gonna be able to do shit. And he was like, well, I can do one thing, and I can do it really, really good.
Yeah.
So like,
and that's good.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. You can make money off of that too. That's not like something that is just gonna be like, oh well. You take apart VCRs, that's useful for like 30 years ago.
Right?
Sorry. I have a friend. First thing that popped in my head.
I have a friend that, like, I love him to death. And it's literally what you're explaining.
Are you talking about me?
He's dumb as a... No.
Okay.
It's directly applicable to you. He's dumb as a sack of rocks. But he's an incredible graphic designer. Mm-hmm. And he literally... I swear to God, this is a conversation we had. He didn't know that a frog wasn't a mammal. He thought, and I was like, do you know what, Zach, before I ask you why you think that, I want to ask you if you know what an amphibian is. And he was like, yeah, it's like snakes and lizards, right? And I was like, okay.
You know what, that's closer than I thought you were going to get, bud.
Yeah, exactly. And so, like, that night, I was like, Zach, listen, I know we've been roasting you over this, but I love you, and you're my friend, and I care about you, and I like, do you really just not know all this because you don't care? And he's like, well, yeah, why would I ever need to know any of that? And I was like, I don't know, man, like, just to better yourself and, like, understanding the world. He's like, man, I don't know. I can make graphics. That it pays the bills. That's all I need to do. And I was like, I mean, okay.
Yeah, that's
I get,
fair.
like, it's fair if that's really what you want. And I guess to me, it's just I can't stop learning shit. Like I wish I never slept. I wish I didn't have to sleep so that I could do more things.
Yeah.
Like I want to go run marathons. I want to go fucking bow hunting. I want to do crazy shit, but I don't have time and I don't have the money, so I have to like focus on these 11 things I like that are like manageable. And I'm like, I could never only do a couple of things forever. And like I'm constantly like fucking. I had never heard about the Troubles. Like in Ireland, the Troubles, and I was like, "What the fuck is the Troubles?" And I've bought like 3 books on the Troubles. I'm in the middle of one right now. I already read like a whole big chunk of one book about the Troubles, like, and I'm like fascinated by the Troubles. So like I'm reading the history of the Troubles, and like it's this crazy like the Trouble. Do you know anything about? The Troubles are
Ireland
the
has
IRA
trouble.
versus the Protestants in Ireland, and it's this like wild like civil war almost in Ireland that's been happening for decades. Like it's still kind of happening.
Who is it? The IRA and who?
The IRA and the Protestants.
Okay.
It's like basically Protestants versus Catholic. I'm still learning, so don't.
Okay.
I'm not. Look, I'm at the very
Is the
beginning of my
IRA the
education.
ones that blew up Charles's grandfather?
What?
Then I was watching The Crown like a really long time ago,
Oh,
and there's a terrorist group in
I'm not
Ireland
sure.
that blows up.
Maybe I don't. Again, I don't know enough right now.
And they also went by an acronym, but you know.
Maybe I don't know. I'm at the beginning of it. My point of this is.
Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
You're good. The point of it is like I will just get like wrapped up in a specific little node of like history and focus on that, or I'll get super fascinated with like woodworking and like learn how to do those cool poly tables that you like laminate over like a bunch of fucking toys and shit and make a cool table. Like I'll get fascinated with that specific thing, camping, whatever it is, and like get good at it. And then like now, boom, that's in my back pocket. I can always like start a fire with sticks, like if I need to. Like I know if the world ends, like I can grow potatoes and I can like forage. Like I know how to do that now because I've done it before. Like if I find a random gun, I know where to start taking it apart to figure out if it's gonna work or not. Like I know some of these things. And my buddy Zach, I love him. Zach, if you listen to this somehow, I love you, but you're so stupid. You make me crazy, Zach. And it's like that mentality is just so foreign to me, and it's like one of those I always think about him. I always think when I don't understand a perspective, I have to remember that Zach is out there making a ton of money, killing it, and he's fucking stupid. And he knows it, and he's fine with it. And I like that is a perspective that people have, and I just damn it, I don't get it. It drives me crazy, that perspective.
That's why some people I find that stuff fascinating, because I think of people like what actual communism should be or what it be.
Yeah.
And the best example of communism in media is Star Trek.
Yeah.
Because it's just no money, moneyless, classless, borderless society. And a lot of people are like, that wouldn't work. That really wouldn't work.
Well, it isn't.
right. That's what I'm saying. It's like the best. It's as close as we can get right now.
It's a version of it, yeah.
Because like people are like, I don't think it would work. And I'm like, look, I understand that you probably wouldn't clean the toilets for that, but there's people who are like, I genuinely don't care what I do as long as I have a roof over my head, food in my mouth, my family's taken care of, and everything's good. Like, I'll do whatever needs to be done in society. Because I know for sure I wouldn't be the one person who'd be like, yeah, I'll do some plumbing, I'll do some electricity work. Like, I definitely don't want to do that. But there's people who we're like, yeah, dude, I don't care.
Well, the problem is narcissism can't exist in communism because there can't be any famous people. Like, to be famous makes you greater / better / gets a bigger house / all these things that like would a lot of people that would be famous would not be accepting of their air quotes like normal role in society under communism on paper. The problem is nuance. No one wants to like abide by the people that really push for it, like won't admit that there are flaws, and the people that don't want to hear about it at all can't admit that there are parts of it that are right.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the whole idea. That's like how America is like this new idea. Like there's a reason people love this country. We're testing shit out. We're figuring it out. It's all crazy.
Yeah,
like it's
really
happening,
is.
and like people can hate on it all we want, and we can talk about the flaws. But at the end of the day, this place is still like the best place to be.
Yeah.
And like we're figuring out why, and we're figuring out how to make it better. Like people, no one wants to admit that we're still figuring this out.
Yeah.
We haven't figured anything out. We figured a lot of stuff out, but we have not figured like it out.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you saying it like that, because the amount of again, going back to me posting these stuff, the amount of people who are like, if you fucking hate America that much, you know, you're a fucking terrorist. Like, you hate America. This is the greatest country in the world. And I'm like, no, dude. If I genuinely hated America, I would just let this country burn. Like, I would just let it go down the path, let it fuck itself up. But I can admit something's
But Alejandro,
up.
you're telling me you're not a sleeper agent? That's what I keep hearing. My big thing is everyone's afraid of fucking sleeper agents in America. I'm like, bro, you know how many... There's a fucking... I'm not kidding you. A 22-year-old girl. If you hear this, you know who you are. A 22-year-old girl who I know, and she's a lovely person. She's wonderful. She's fun to talk to. She's a cool human being. She's horrified that we're going to get nuked by Iran and that there are sleeper agents everywhere.
Yep.
And I'm like, woman... Let's just pretend. Let's pretend.
I know who it is, dude. I'm
No, you
gonna
don't.
wait till she says something crazy. And I'll be like,
You don't
I'm
know
gonna
who it
act
is.
like I activated.
You don't know who it is. That's amazing, though. You don't know who it is, but that's amazing.
Tell me who it is.
I'll tell you after.
Yeah.
Just learn just one phrase and
I
like,
told her-
I'm gonna go all Winter Soldier.
I
on her.
told her, I said, listen, if there were, let's pretend there are 1 million sleeper agents. That is one, on a good day, if the numbers are even kind of accurate, that's 1 in 350 people in this country. 1.5 of every one person has a gun. like a sleeper agent could activate, kill 5 people, and it wouldn't even dent our population.
Yeah.
1 million sleeper agents could knock out 10 million people, and it wouldn't even be as much as COVID said people died.
Right.
Like it wouldn't even be it would be a tragedy.
Right,
But
for
it
sure.
wouldn't work. Like every sleeper agent would have to be John Wick to even start to really fuck us up.
Right,
like it's real. You need to look at the grand picture. No one's out to get a pretty white girl in South Carolina. If you're a pretty white girl,
Yes. I was about to say no one.
sure, I know, but I'm saying that like the grand big picture, you're not the target.
Exactly.
You're not like what they're after if
that's-
you're a sleeper agent.
And that's what I had to tell some people like who were like bashing the protest. They're like, I'm going to defend my home and my family. You don't have shit that I want. There's not
Yeah,
anything you own that I want.
yeah.
Well, I like that, as opposed to like all the people are like, oh, we're going to show up with our guns. The people are like, we're going to show up in protest. Like the people
With
that-
our guns.
the people that showed up to protest peacefully, showed up, and there was nobody that I saw with guns, protesting y'all's protests.
Yeah,
So-
no, we didn't have anything. My favorite clip that I've seen is somewhere in California. They had a Trump anti-protest because it was like a red city, so they didn't
Yeah.
have no Kings protest, and it was just one woman. And she had her sign that said "No Kings." So she was like standing in the middle of all these like MAGA people.
What a
Every once
thug.
in a while, you would just see people be like, and she just stood there, just like not
Protesting.
bothered. Yeah, like,
Yeah,
not
like a
bothered
protester's
at fucking
supposed to
all.
do.
Like not bothered at all. And that's great because you see these videos of like Trump people coming to these like No Kings protests, and they just come to agitate. They'll come to start yelling and start fighting. Like, dude, you can stand in the corner and hold your sign. That's more than fine. Like, no one's gonna argue at you. But there's no reason to come in and try to like agitate, make people scared, make
Yeah.
people fearful of all this that's going on. Especially because like the average person that was out there, like out of the 2,000, 1,500 of them were like over the age of like 60. Just had nothing else to do that day and were just upset and just out there.
That were protesting with you guys?
Yeah,
Or
they were
okay.
protesting with us. Yeah, it's just a bunch of harmless people out there not doing much. In this area, who's gonna come out like that to protest in droves? Like,
Yeah.
like the people our age went, but the majority of it was
Older
older
people.
people,
Yeah.
for sure. Like once we start getting younger people going out there and stuff like that, maybe there'll be more agitation. But I don't see that.
That's just
happening
young
in this
people,
town.
though. That's not even
Yeah.
necessarily
Exactly.
the issue.
Yeah.
That's
Exactly.
like
I saw a lot
young
of
people are
people-
dumber,
Exactly.
generally.
I saw a lot of people that were trying to disrupt you guys were younger.
Yeah.
Because, like, some of them that were right. Like, you told the story while we were there about the guy who, was saying shit, and you got in his face with a camera, and you were like, do you really feel like Trump's your daddy, or something like that?
Yeah, yeah.
And he goes, like, nah, I was just, talking junk, and, like, drove away.
And he was immediately like, I'm just trolling, bro. I'm just trolling. And I'm like, there you go, man. When you confront somebody about being ignorant, it's just a troll. You know,
It's like
just-
watching 4chan in real life.
Yeah, literally.
it's hilarious.
And that's how the problem with that is like that's where it all gets muddied up. Because generally speaking, like one of my favorite recent examples was, do you know who Tim Dillon is, the comedian?
Yeah.
Tim Dillon went on CNN. He did an hour and 11-minute CNN interview.
God, I want to see that.
It is one of the greatest.
God,
It's one of the greatest
that now.
things I've ever seen. Because Tim is a liberal. Like,
Dude, as a matter of fact, I'm pulling that up, like, so I can have it for
it's
later.
unbelievable. This woman.
Is that a charging back? Look
is,
at
it
that.
is.
That's like
I
the
thought it was
Swiss
a fucking
Army.
dude. When your phone was on it this whole time, I was like, "Yo, Alejandro's got a fucking DS. That's cool." Like, it was like folded up. It looked like a DS.
Sorry, not to be ADHD.
Yeah,
in the room,
and
but,
sorry,
like, it's
recording
like a-
for people who can't see this, but it was just really silly.
It's like a Swiss Army charger.
You've
It's
never
got
seen
all
these?
kinds of- no, let me see that.
I've had like 11. I've got like 11 of these. They're amazing.
They're awesome.
It's got all the ports.
They're at every poker game. Every poker game has 5 of those because
Really?
everyone needs one at the table.
Hey, dude, you need to charge your charger pack, dude. It's a little
12 is really like 40% on a phone.
Exactly. That's what it was.
Yeah, like you can charge your phone all the way like at least 4 or 5
Yeah,
times.
Oh, yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, they're
That's
amazing.
nice.
Hold on.
Sorry.
Not
Okay.
sponsored.
Yeah, not a sponsor. Tim Dillon. Tim Dillon. Cause my thing. Most of my friends are very liberal, so it's really easy to bash on Republicans, but it's hard a lot of the time to. And bash is a bad word. I don't want to say bash because it seems way more negative than what I mean. Yeah. But I hate when a lot of my liberal friends refuse to admit that liberals can say or think stupid shit. And the Tim Dillon interview is one of the best cases because it's this obviously based on her questions and her inferences on society and the way things are going. And Tim, God bless him, the guy is just so articulate and so like easy going in his argument. Like, if you're bickering with him comedically, he'll go crazy. Like, there's a video of him dressed as Meghan McCain saying she's gonna fuck her dad, and like that she fucks like dead father, like dead John McCain. Like, it's crazy. It's a crazy video, and he's a crazy comedian.
Yeah.
But when it comes to actually having like a well-spoken, articulated conversation about like the state of politics and whatever the establishment is, he's able to sit with this person who is very outclassed in terms of what information she has available. And I think now she would admit that. And he has said that she has admitted it off air.
Right.
That like she was just not like up to snuff on what he had to bring to the conversation. Because she was like, what do you think about this new Republican establishment of Theo Von and Joe Rogan and their podcast Elite? And he's like, do you think that Joe Rogan and Theo Von have like meetings about supporting the Republican Party, and a bunch of other things, like Elon Musk being a Nazi. He was like, "Do I think he did that on purpose? Yeah, I think he was joking. Do you think he's like instilling the Third Reich? Has he ever done anything in his history to make you think this guy's like trying to get rid of the Jewish people? Like we can't throw these words around because they're a little too defamatory." Is he silly and ridiculous? Of course.
Right.
Do I think he's like the best guy to have in politics? Of course not.
Right.
Do I think he's a fucking like attributed the same ideas that Hitler was doing? No.
Right.
That's crazy. And you guys talk like that's exactly what it is. And like literally she's saying it. She's like, you don't think like about Elon Musk being a fucking Nazi? And I'm like, look, I don't love a lot. He says some crazy shit.
Right.
The guy's nuts. We shouldn't have let this guy
do what he
be
did.
in the government.
Yeah.
Like let this guy. He's autistic. Let him go to space. Like, he's doing great getting to space. This guy needs to make electric cars and get us to space. He's killing that. He's doing great there. He should not be informing policy. He should not be using a platform to do that. I don't think that anything should sway all of that. Is the recording still? Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Also,
I
what's
was turning.
happening?
I was turning on my headphones.
But my favorite thing, my favorite little tiny nugget of conversationally gut punching the like liberal elitism of like who is allowed to be a liberal in the eyes of like umbrella liberals. She said, well, who are even like liberal comedians? I can't even like think of any. Which in itself is a ridiculous statement. And then he goes, and this is where Tim, you know how all these interviews, they have like baked answers.
Yeah.
They're waiting for a certain question so they can like gut punch you. He goes, well, I mean, immediately like you have Chelsea Handler, you have Bill Burr, Sarah Silverman, this person, and then he goes, Louis C.K. And she goes, well, and he goes, what? He's not a perfect person. But has he ever been anything but liberal? And then she's just like dead silent. She has nothing to say.
Yeah.
She can't think of a single time Louis C.K. was anything but liberal.
Because he's never has
Yeah,
been.
he's
He's
never
been a
has
super liberal guy his whole career. and Tim's just smiling like, because he's an imperfect person, he's not a liberal?
Right, you don't want to claim him.
Yeah, you
now?
don't want to claim him now. Like, we don't get to claim the people that think the way we think. Like, just because they make a mistake doesn't mean there's not, like,
Right, that's what they
preaching the
were.
ideals that you do. And it's just, he really schools her. And the thing I love the most about Tim is he gives her all the credit in the world every time he starts any of his statements. He's like, listen, this is right. You're right here. And this is correct. And this is right. But, like, none of you want to say this, and none of you want to say this, and none of you want to say this, and none of them want to say that. And I get it. But we got to figure this out. We got to, like, join together. We have to talk about this together. I don't think that the podcasts, I don't think Theo Von is trying to sway the voting American populace.
Especially because you heard Theo Von talk to, like, Bernie Sanders. The conversation he had with Bernie Sanders was
And Joe.
amazing.
Yeah.
And, like, in that liberal, easily Tim could have gone Joe Rogan when he was saying all these liberal guys. Because Joe Rogan is incredibly liberal. He's like one of the most liberal comedians.
But he
in
wasn't
his
trying to
stand-up.
punch back. He was
And
trying to
exactly, he's
conversate.
not trying to punch back. He's trying to show you why the flaws exist in what you're saying. And Joe Rogan's the easy, what everyone wants you to say answer, but it's not the right answer because at the moment, sure, Joe is very conservative in a lot of ways. And there's a reason he talked to all these conservative people. But Tim Dillon and Joe Rogan and Theo Von and Andrew Schultz and all of these guys offered Kamala Harris time on their shows. They all offered Tim Walz time on their shows, and no one would come and do the show. They're trying to give these people a platform, and they don't take it. That's not their fault.
Yeah.
They're building a show. Joe has stated multiple. Look, I'm a big fan of Joe Rogan. That's not like I've mentioned it a bunch of times. I love the guy. I listen to all of it.
Yeah.
I don't just listen to the stuff I want. Will I miss an episode? Sure. I don't listen to the MMA ones because I will fall asleep. Like I don't care. Israel Adesanya, I'll listen to that one. The guy's a lunatic. He loves anime. I'm there for that.
Right.
He's a clown. He's amazing. Like he's so fun to listen to. Half of that conversation that a lot of those guys have, I don't want to hear. But everyone else, I want to hear because Joe is thoughtful. If he has a lady on talking about fucking bees, I want to hear it. It's amazing conversation. He had one of the ladies who's like a genetic officer over at Colossus, the place that just brought the fucking direwolves back, talking about them reintroducing the red wolf and like how that's going to help a lot of the big population problems with white-tailed deer and all these other things, and how they want to bring the woolly mammoths back so that there's megafauna in Siberia and in Alaska and all these places. There's no longer megafauna and is like ruining the sediment issue. Like they have reasons for doing these things, and people want to put people in boxes, and he just lets them talk.
Yeah.
Like Graham Hancock, all these guys. He has interesting people on. Sometimes it's Donald Trump. Like I get that, but no one wants to talk about when he has Bernie Sanders on,
Right?
And lets Bernie go off on the Democratic Party because that doesn't help the Democratic idea right now. It's ridiculous.
One thing I really love about Joe Rogan is that he'll be the first one to tell you he's an idiot.
I'm a dumbass.
Yeah, he's an idiot
all the time. Don't listen to me. Don't let me be the and this will be thrown in people's faces for a while now, which is I don't hate that he said it. I just hate that it is now going to be used as ammunition. Someone asked him recently, well, like, when did you decide to start having these guys on because of what was being said? And he was like, COVID, like, fucked a lot of shit up because I started seeing, like, oh, people I know are getting tested and, like, getting direct correlation, like, the vaccine fucked me up. I have to have a pacemaker. It's definitely because of the vaccine, nothing else. Like, it's one thing when it might have been the vaccine.
Right.
But when it is now being confirmed in millions of, or I'm not going to say millions, that's conflating. Definitely thousands and thousands and thousands of cases of, like, the vaccine fucked people up and is, like, causing heart issues, and more young men athletes have died in the last 4 years than in recorded history of athleticism. Like, people are dropping dead of heart attacks when they're in their peak physical form immediately after having the vaccine and getting autopsies done and realizing it was because the vaccine was causing blood clots.
Like the part where the video will get taken.
This is exactly why
Yeah.
the video will get taken down.
Yeah.
But
we literally had a podcast get taken down because he said something like,
Yeah.
this, like,
Oh, really?
yeah, like
Yes.
recently, like it wasn't. It's been the last
my
year.
bad. If that's what happens, I apologize.
No, it's okay. I mean, I'm not mad about it. I think somehow or another we found a workaround and reinstated it. But anyways, not to detract from what he's saying.
All that's to say that he said, like, I started having certain people on because we needed better information, and no one in the news was going to cover this because it directly attacked the side of their own argument that they didn't want to be touched. And the biggest problem about that was it attacked both sides.
Yeah.
The Republicans were preaching the vax when Trump was in, and that vax was fucking people up. And then the Democrats started preaching the vax when Biden was in, and that vax started fucking people up. Because neither of those vaccines were vaccines.
Right.
They were not tested for years and years and developed properly. They were mRNA vaccines. So I had the guy that created mRNA vaccines come on and explain why an mRNA vaccine should not be a vaccine you use immediately.
Yeah.
And the guy is the most published guy in his field in the world ever.
Yeah, that's the best thing that Joe Rogan does is he gets his media from multiple sources.
And he admits his ignorance.
Yes, and I think that's what people need to do. Like the amount of people. One thing that I saw where I in those comments again, I told somebody like you can see videos of the police attacking people.
Yeah.
I was like, you can see the video of the police they shot and arrested news reporters. And
Dude,
he's
the
like,
Australian woman who
Yeah.
got shot in the back of the leg,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
they literally just pan to the cop and he shoots her in the leg.
Yeah.
She's just reporting.
and there's a
It's like
scene-
20 feet away, and he just
That was in
fucking pops her.
Australia?
No, it
No,
was,
it was
in
here. She was just an Australian reporter.
reporter.
She was a reporter.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Dude,
Wait,
like,
where was that? Here?
in the LA protests.
Okay, I didn't know.
Oh,
this.
really?
Yeah,
That
so-
was it rubber bullets or
Yeah,
actual-
rubber bullet.
Rubber bullets are just
But still,
bullets
I mean, yeah.
covered in rubber.
Well, no,
They're not like bullets, but they're like
Yeah.
like
They hurt.
pellet gun
They could
bullets.
kill you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like pellet gun bullets wrapped in rubber.
Did she have to? She probably had to go to the hospital.
Probably,
I mean,
but
do we know how she?
but there was like people.
It's like getting shot with a frozen paintball gun.
Yeah, that's
what
a
it's
great
like.
example,
It
yeah.
hurts. It does not feel good.
but like there's
They're
people.
used for crowd suppression in prisons.
Yeah, exactly.
They should like it's ridiculous.
And
they
there's
were being
people under
used.
there who are like, dude, the cops have been nothing but peaceful. They haven't hurt anybody. And I was like, have you seen any non-mainstream?
It's like maybe
media?
95% of them have. Maybe not like, but the problem is the 1% that gets filmed,
Yeah.
and that's what it looks like now.
And I told him, I was like, dude, like, it's so. He's like, I haven't seen anything like that in any news media. I'm like, what news media are you watching? Because even on CNN live, a reporter got arrested for reporting on the protest.
Yep.
He was like 20 feet away, and he was just recording, and a cop just ran up to him, handcuffed him. The camera fell, and they were like, "What's going on?" He's like, "I'm being arrested," and then they just cut back because they arrested the people who were there. And I'm like, you can. Mainstream news is also like showing you this. So where are you getting your information?
Yeah.
Like that's just the most aggravating part. Like,
The thing I fear the most now going forward is AI.
yeah, it's terrifying.
AI is becoming really scary
It's
and how
really good.
incredibly good it looks. Because like how much of that is AI and we're just being tricked? You know what I mean? Like how much of it is built in terror, like terror to scare
Well,
us.
the good side of it is like maybe because of how
Like the
tricky
Gorman
AI can be, people are going to go out more and actually get a feel for what like people are actually doing and saying and feeling in the
Well,
street.
so that's my flip of this is more and more in the last like really fast, like in the last like 8 or 9 months, I am noticing and seeing a direct correlation in public life of people wanting and seeking out being around people.
Yeah.
For the first time in like 6 years.
Yeah.
Since COVID, people are finally going like, wait, that was all bullshit? I could have been going to the park. Like I could have been talking to strangers and like becoming friends with them. I've made so many friends just sitting at fucking Daily Grind.
Yeah.
People walk in, I say something nice, and then we sit and talk for an hour. Like I've met people and sat and talked with them for an hour.
You could say it's
multiple
his
times.
daily grind.
Wow. Great joke.
Thank you.
My lifelong comedy partner, ladies.
I've been working on my material.
This is the guy that I chose. For my
I was about to
lifelong
say you did this to yourself. In all fairness.
I know.
Yeah.
I should have picked Michael.
Michael wishes he was me.
Anyway.
It might be in your position, but I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, no, exactly. I'm excited. Oh, never mind. Almost talked about the thing.
Okay.
We'll talk more about it
You're
after the
excited
podcast.
about the potential things that may happen that lead to people being able to communicate more and be around each other.
that thing.
Yes, that
Yeah.
thing.
Do you have paper and pen in here?
No.
No? That's
Why would I?
stupid.
This is
I don't know.
No,
This is
just
a
kidding.
house,
It's
Craig.
a house, you lunatic. It's good to have. There's
No, there is some somewhere.
You have paper somewhere?
Caitlin's got a lot of that stuff.
Oh my god, that stuff. You can't even say paper. Crazy.
Well, there's just a whole arts and crafts section.
Right.
Somewhere around here.
Right.
It's buried. Hey, wait, there was paper behind you.
I'm drawing on this mail.
Okay. Wait, let me pick which one.
No.
No, it's just-
a Emporium bill. I'm writing on it.
Okay, cool. That one never changes. Except for the one time a year.
Bro,
That's a yellow pen, dude.
you're a yellow pen.
You-
Talk podcast stuff. Stop talking to me.
I'm just watching these.
Talk to Alejandro. Talk to our guest.
You've just been following him.
Alejandro, what's your favorite color, goddammit?
What's your favorite kind of cookie?
Can you
No,
kinda-
no. Don't answer him. He's being a bitch.
Why are you saying that?
Because, okay.
You need me to answer the question?
This is deep podcast lore. Hold on. Okay.
Wait, answer the question first.
You know what? You do that, and then I'll explain because I need to write this down before I forget.
Oatmeal craisin.
What is it?
Oatmeal craisin.
See, he thought this would not be an interesting question. I was not expecting that answer. I was expecting something different. Why that?
Because it's good.
Uh-huh.
Because I like oatmeal cookies and craisins are fire.
No, what's the difference between a craisin and a raisin?
Cranberries and grapes.
Oh, cool. Sweet. I've learned something new. I had no idea what the actual difference is. I saw the...
In the very
at the
first
store.
podcast, Creighton wrote like 7 questions.
Mm-hmm.
The idea was we're going to podcast for 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
He
I
finished
ran through
asking
them.
me 7 yes or no questions in the first 4.5 minutes, and the last question was, "What's your favorite cookie?" And this was supposed to be the beginning of a podcast career.
2 hours?
We were 4 minutes in, and he was out of questions.
Ask those questions now.
And then we like ad-libbed. And to be fair, it did like
It was the very first time we had ever done it. It was the first time I had been on
he
camera
asked
in
me
years.
all of his questions in 4 minutes. I had answers for all of them because they were all yes or no questions, except what's your favorite cookie? And I roasted him for an hour and 50
in front of
minutes.
a live audience.
In front of a live, it was on Twitch. We were just streaming live on Twitch. I was just annihilating him.
I mean, that's very
rightfully so.
deserved. Like, how long did it take you to come up with that
I just
question?
kind of like...
Days.
I wrote,
Days he had to plan for this podcast.
I wrote him like literally 5 minutes before I went in the building.
Which, to be fair, in the end, the podcast really, that version of the podcast, the first, like, fucking, 300 episodes were all streamed on Twitch. So, like, a majority of it was us actually talking to our chat. And that was fun. And there's a future for that I still want to do.
Yeah.
But I don't want it to be like this, the podcast.
Yeah.
I want it to be a live show.
Yeah.
It's a
Gotcha,
different
gotcha.
thing. Almost like I almost want that to be like a radio show.
Yeah.
Rather than a podcast. Because this is better. We stay on topic. We actually have
we?
good conversation.
We tried to.
In the Twitch chat, it's way harder because, like, we'll
Copenhagen will
say,
say some random shit, and
Yeah.
that'll be our entire lives for the next...
we'll be in the middle of a
foreseeable
good conversation. It's happened hundreds of times. Be in the middle of a really good conversation, and someone in chat will say something absolutely hilarious. Like, it is great. It's
Right.
hilarious what they say, and we say it, and we laugh, and then we're like, the fuck are we talking about? And we just go on to the next thing. And, like, very rarely I would listen back. Because, like, my brother would call me and be like, what the fuck were you going to say? Michael would listen to him all the time, and he'd be really interested. And other people would be really interested. Like, my grandma called one time. My grandma listened to all of them, which was like...
Your Nana.
I hate that.
I love you.
Because we said wild shit.
His Nana loves me, and I said the wildest shit I could say.
Yeah, his mom listened to the podcast. Creighton's mom listens to the podcast.
My grandma listened to it.
Yeah, she listened to it. A lot of our, like, the women of our lives that helped raise us listen to this podcast where we talk about the gayest, craziest shit. Like, doing crazy shit to each other. Like, just absurd profanity.
Making them proud.
Making them proud, yeah, and they were like, those silly little boys. It was so funny hearing, like, his mom's takes were always the funniest.
Yeah.
His grandma, one of the best. Every time I saw her, I would sit down. She'd be like, "Hey, Charlie, how's it going?" And I'd be like, "Hey, Polly, how's it going?" And she'd be like, "I really wish you guys would stop saying such dirty stuff on that podcast. Y'all say the ugliest stuff."
She told me the
Now
same
go
thing.
get you an orange and get out of here.
She told me the same thing.
Yeah,
She still listened to the next one.
yeah. She listened to a bunch of them.
Yeah, she listened to all of them, like all the way
She was
through.
like, I listen to them until y'all say something ugly, which is usually pretty quick. So I got like 10 minutes into one time. That's like, I remember she said that was like the furthest she could ever get was 10 or 15 minutes.
Man, her favorite would have been Michael's future episode where he's like, let me get out the way.
Yeah.
Just 10 seconds in.
Those were such.
We need to have Michael back on.
Yeah.
I've been really
I love-
slack on the inviting people on recently, just because we've been busy. So
Well, Michael's such a podcast connoisseur that, like, when he gets on, it's like he gets to play his game of being on a podcast because he loves
he probably
podcasts.
hasn't missed an episode. He's probably
Of
like
this?
been waiting.
I
Yeah,
don't know if he listens to this. I mean, other big podcasts.
I was gonna say he's probably been waiting in the wings. Like
Yeah.
when's my time?
I listen to a lot of podcasts. I love podcasts. I want to do like all the different versions of podcasts. Like there's a podcast I listen to called First Date with Lauren Compton. She's a comedian, and it's on the Your Mom's House network, like the podcast network that they have. And she has comedians and other like popular famous people on, and like just
it's as if she asks questions as if they're on a date. And it's hilarious because most of the time it's comedians.
Right.
So, like, she has, like, the very first episode's Tom Segura because Your Mom's House is his company. And so, but, like, recently she had on Fiona Cawley, who's this female comedian who's in a wheelchair. She has, like, a progressive disease. And she's one of the few... She'll have a second date if she really likes your interview. And she's only had it with, like, a few people. Like, Mark Norman has one, which is unfucking believable. It's one of the greatest. It's one of the few podcasts that I've listened to its entirety multiple times. Like one episode, like I'll rewatch an episode of a podcast. Like it's TV. It's so good. She had him on twice. She had Harland Williams on. Do you know who Harland Williams is?
I don't know that one.
Alejandro. You have to listen to Harland Williams. He has his own podcast called The Harland Highway. He's amazing because he's one of these like absurdist comedians. He'll say crazy shit, but if certain people will talk to him and like not be into it, they'll like ask him real shit and he will be real. And you're like, whoa, wait a second. How are you? Because he talks the same. All the cadences of everything he says, the craziest, most ridiculous shit, and the really deep, like, especially with her, he talks about like real relationship stuff. And you're like,
is this the same episode?
It's like watching Chris Farley mid-character go into like that character's fucking thoughts on relationships and love and like be incredibly nuanced and thoughtful about it. He's a fucking fascinating guy.
I'll definitely have to check
and
him
Fiona
out.
Cawley. And so I listen to a lot of like, I'll get on a kick of a certain podcast. So like hers, the first date, I won't listen to it for 2 months and let like 7 or 8 episodes bank up because they're only like 45 minutes. And then I'll just fucking bang out like 7 or 8 episodes in a row and listen to them, and I love them. And then I'm like, all I want to do is talk about fucking relationships with people for like 3 or 4 days. Or I'm like, I could do this podcast. I could be the dude Lauren Compton who just talks to people about like relationships and shit. And it makes me want to do that. And like the thing that we're not talking about will be a good thing for that
Right.
with new people because it'll be a lot easier to bottleneck podcast guests.
That's something
Without
I need to
bringing that
work
up.
on is like figuring out who I can get content with, because I've asked a bunch of people like, hey, do you want to sit down and have an actual conversation? Let's record it. Let's do it.
Well, the way we always did it was live stream on Twitch, right? So we could say, listen, we're going to stream it on Twitch. We're also going to record it. If you don't want it uploaded, we won't upload it. So just come and figure it out. Talk to us, see if it's fun.
Yeah, but
half of our recurring guests on the podcast in the early days started off not thinking they were going to do it and that it would be good, and then it turns out like, oh, you can sit and talk with 2 people if they know how to sit and talk.
Right.
Because we can like guide you. We can guide someone into like having a conversation, because it's an art form. Conversation's an art form.
Yeah, it's difficult.
And like people, and it's harder than ever right now because COVID fucked a lot of people up and no one talked to each other for years.
But I would say too, to like what he's saying is like we really didn't get more guest focused until we started doing audio. Well, until we stopped being like
The live show.
Live.
Yeah, it's definitely been more of this, and I like it a lot more.
The hard part with doing a guest on Twitch is just that you have a lot going on.
Yeah.
And it's hard to kind of steer the conversation because, like you said, somebody's going to come in and chat and say something that's like our audience specifically is just so creative and so like willing to say just whatever and know that we're going to want to talk about it and know the things that we're going to want to talk about. So they'll say, whatever, and we might have Alejandro on, and they'll be like, space dinosaurs, and we'll be
whatever
like,
it is.
well,
Madness.
there is some evidence in Egypt that potential space dinosaurs.
Yeah,
So,
Well, and I think the way to bottleneck that and make it better is, one thing we never had was a producer / person like managing the stream. So like if we do it, it would be like this, where we don't see a chat. If it is live, like Quentin's in the corner or someone's in the corner with a chat, and they're fielding. Ted's in the corner with a laptop, fielding the chat,
Right.
to like ask us what they think is necessary to ask,
Right,
instead of us reading. Because me and Creighton would literally read every message out loud, and it would be nonsense. Like,
But
it's nonsense.
see, you could, with what you're trying to do specifically, you could definitely pull something like that off because you have more people willing to come in and do something that's going to benefit the Democratic Party.
Well, the issue with that is you have a lot of people who just want to hear their own voice.
Exactly.
Like they just want to come up.
You need a moderator.
Exactly.
You need somebody on there to help you, like, keep them in their fucking lane.
For your debates? Or, like, I guess not debates, but for your, like, whenever you guys are going to meetings and stuff?
No. Like, anyone can just stand up and talk at any of our meetings. Genuinely, yeah.
You don't have, like, a like a talking stick? Or,
Nobody wants to walk in there because they think if they go to a Democratic meeting, we're gonna make them trans and woke. Like,
well, you're gonna, aren't you?
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
no,
I need to use the bathroom, not the litter box, you guys. Like, that's why we don't have any people come on. But like online, where people don't have to show their face, don't have to be.
God, how silly would it be if I
accountable.
walked into one of the like Lancaster Democratic Party members like in full like Trump Make America Great Again hat, and I'm just me. I'm like the nicest guy. I'm reasonable, and I like give a face to these people that I don't really agree with. It's like the Larry. Have you seen the Larry David, the Curb Your Enthusiasm? Why he wears the hat? So good. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
In Curb Your Enthusiasm, Larry David wears a MAGA hat so people won't talk to him because he lives in LA. He's like, I just don't want to talk to anybody today, so he puts the hat on. He walks around smiling. He's like, he's like peace and quiet.
Even some of these like older ladies in the Lancaster Democratic Party, they'll definitely throw down. I feel like if somebody were to walk in like that, they might not be violent or anything like that, but
they'd be sassier than usual.
They'd literally sit down right next to him and be like, "Is something wrong with you, honey?" Like just in like the sweetest way they could possibly phrase
just
it.
to bait you into like trying to be antagonistic.
Exactly. There's a lot of ladies on there who'd be like, "I'd beat him with the stick," and I'm like, first of all, you can't lift a stick, so calm down. And that's not a productive way to have a conversation.
Yeah, honestly, I should do it subtly. Instead of like straight up MAGA, I should just go in there with like camo pants, camo hat, go in there with overalls, like really look like the country boy. Be that guy. Let my facial hair grow out for a few weeks. Don't shave it. Don't even clean it up. Let it get all scraggly.
As cool as some of the people are in there, like I said, the first meeting I went to, I got yelled at. They did not like me at all.
Really?
Like, yeah, they didn't like me. I went in there and I was like, you guys suck. You guys, as Democrats, you guys do nothing for the community. You guys don't do anything for that. And a lot of them got super mad at me and were yelling at me. They were like, well, how are we supposed to convince young people to come? We look for them. We post this online. I'm like, where'd you post it? They're like, we made a post on Facebook last week and we didn't get a single young person to respond. I'm like, yeah, because you only had 5 old people respond. Like,
and you're making it on Facebook.
Exactly.
That's not where anybody is.
We're just there for Marketplace.
They
for the podcast.
I'm literally on there for chairs, goddamn. I'm trying to buy chairs.
I am there for the
They literally asked me where I can go, and I was like, have you guys heard of have you even heard of LinkedIn, Snapchat, Instagram?
Yeah. I bet none of you know what Discord is.
Yeah. I asked him, I was like, no, we don't. No, I told them, I was like, do you guys know what Twitch is? Anything like that? And they're like, no, I don't know what any of that is. If it's not Facebook or Snapchat, I don't know it. And I'm like, how do you expect to get to youth? And I was like, and also most of my
course you're not reaching anybody. You're Democrats in the Republican fucking social media.
Exactly.
You idiots.
I think we have a Twitter. Like, dude, come on.
They're like, I think. They don't know. Is it Twitter? Is it X? What is it now?
And it's just, they're just unwilling. They immediately were like, no, it's the young people's fault. It's the young people's fault. And I'm like, okay, well, who prepared us? Who made it this way?
You guys baked us.
Right, exactly.
We let you cook and you cooked bad. You burnt it.
And it is super evident with some of the older people there because they have such a hard time letting go. Yeah. Like a lot of old people in there. There's a wave of like younger people who constantly try to come up into the Democratic Party and immediately are just shot down. Yeah, like I said, the only reason I didn't get shot down is because Katie, she ran for district last year. She didn't run last time. She lost. Great woman, awesome. Actually, the husband of the first chair that you met that day, she literally stood in there and she was like, "You guys are literally being hypocrites. You're talking about you're angry that we don't get youth, and when a young person sits here and telling you why he's not listening, you're gonna sit here and yell at him." And she was like, "He's who needs to lead us." And she's honestly like the one who was like, "If you want to hear the perspective, want to try to even gain some young people to come, listen to this kid and let's maybe have him do something." But they did not want me there. There's still a group of people there who don't want me there. There's a group of people there who have who say I don't do enough.
But you're literally like, and I'm not saying this because you're on the show, and trying to kiss your ass or anything like that. But I mean, until like you were like, hey, there's a Democratic Party of Lancaster and I'm in it. I didn't even know we had a Democratic Party.
Exactly.
And like since you've taken over, like the social media presence is way more prevalent. It's way more prevalent than it was before.
Good job.
Yeah.
And it's. And I suck at social media. I don't even have a TikTok yet. Like I've
never been on TikTok.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to.
That's what I'm saying. Like, And it sucks because what
I ain't gonna let China have my goddamn secrets.
Now Temu, they can have all my secrets.
exactly.
But it sucks because like I'm at the point now where I'm like I'm probably gonna have to get it. I actually, like I said, I finally got some people who are helping me like actually produce and edit these videos. Today I actually recorded a series of videos that are being edited and processed now, so hopefully I'll be able to release that.
We're thinking about doing TikTok eventually. I think once
we?
Yeah,
That's not been a conversation I've had yet.
we need to start putting clips up, and I think once we
Creighton,
get this,
Creighton, you need to start putting clips.
no, I'm saying, but we're in this together, comedy partners
Right,
for
no,
life.
I know.
But I think once certain things happen with studio locations, we will be fine.
Yes.
I think we're gonna put we'll have more place to focus on those things.
Yeah,
and do the other things like bring episode 3 back, and maybe Creighton Station here and there.
It's definitely hard planning all this stuff and actually making it work.
Yeah.
Like it's
scheduling is a son of a fucking
and then trying to
thousand
get people,
bitches.
trying to get people to want to come on and that will actually when you follow up, they're like, oh, I didn't definitely forget. Like,
Yeah. Aline?
that was that was the big issue for a long time, because when we started doing this and me and him were wanting to have guests on, it was like 2019, 2020. And that's when COVID started and nobody really wanted to go out anywhere. Nobody really wanted to be on anything. So, and the interviews we got around that time for Creighton Station I was very surprised that we even had the opportunity to do.
Yeah, but that's just frustrating to me because people would love to give their opinion, but when it comes down to, okay, let's actually plan it out, have just a conversation, not just you spout an opinion, they don't want to do that part.
Yeah,
I'm struggling so hard to get people to, especially people on the right, to sit down and have a conversation with me.
I'm trying to find your antithesis, dude.
Yeah,
I'm trying to find
that.
the dude that's like you, but for the other side.
I found
That's
one
me.
guy. I found one guy, and I'm slowly convincing him to sit down and record stuff with me. Mm-hmm. But it sucks because we've had so many conversations that I'm already I've already gotten into his head a little bit, and he's already swayed on a couple of things. We had a whole CEO conversation the other day, and he was like, "You know what, dude? You're kind of cooking right now, so I'm gonna shut up." And I'm like, "No, please keep talking,
debate
keep talking."
me, yeah.
Right? We need to, especially because he's one of the people who is respected by his friends. He's one of the smarter
How
guys
old
in the
is he?
friend group. 31, 30 or 31.
So a younger dude.
Yeah. I talked to him because I even brought up the only thing I mentioned to him was the United Healthcare CEO got shot.
Yeah.
While he was dying and bleeding out on the sidewalk, the meeting he was going to continued. They made decisions, and the company decided to profit somehow. They actually made profits with the CEO dying and bleeding on the sidewalk out there.
Damn.
Good.
So how useful do you think CEOs truly are at this point then? Because he's a...
Is the president actually making any decisions?
he's a I made most of my money on crypto kind of guy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, good for you. That's awesome. And he's like, yeah, everybody should do that. And I'm like, if everybody gets on crypto, then nobody can make money on crypto.
Guy used to work at UPS?
No.
Okay.
I think he's had the same job since forever.
Okay.
He's...
Understood.
I think you actually might know him.
I might.
If I'm not mistaken.
I saw the head turn. He's like, oh, I might.
I feel like you might know him.
Do I know him?
No, I don't know.
You're
you might actually too, just because.
Well, you see, Creighton, the thing is, you're dumb. This guy sounds pretty smart.
I love smart people. I get around them all the time, just fuck with their heads.
On purpose, or do you think that's just what ends up happening?
By accident. It's like osmosis. You hang around a dumb person long enough, it's like, whoa, you get dumber.
Dude, I used to have a friend. I felt so bad. Matthew, if you ever hear this, I don't think you will. I had to stop hanging out with him because he was thick Southern accent kind of guy.
And you started being thick a Southern accent.
Dude, oh my god.
Mac, I love you to death. Me and Michael would hang out with Mac, and literally, within 5 or 6 minutes, this was our voice, and it would not go away. And this was just how we would speak for the rest of the day. And I still do it. And I'll do this in Las Vegas. In Las Vegas, someone will hear my normal voice, my voice like this. They'll hear this voice and go, "Oh, where are you? Are you from the South somewhere?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it's crazy you say that because I have the northern voice,
right? Exactly.
I'm the one that they're always like, "Are you from up north somewhere?" When we live here, but then there's enough there that they say it, and they're like, "Oh, well, you mean you don't all sound like this?" I said, "No, usually a lot of us sound more like this," and and they're like, "Whoa!" I could phase in and out of it pretty effectively.
Dude, I felt so bad though because I stopped hanging out with him, and I looked at my mom, who like barely speaks English, and I went, "Yes, and I was like, "Nope, can't do this." I was like, "Oh,
That's
I
amazing.
was like,
She
I'm
know
so
what you
sorry,
said?
dude. Heck no, dude. She just looked at me like, "Is that even English?"
She was like, "Por qué?"
It's like, bless you.
Gesundheit. Oh, so
Brought you a
great.
hanky.
Yeah, that's why I love these people who are like, I can't understand what these rappers are saying. Dude, if you can understand your pappy, I'm sure you can
Yeah.
understand
bro.
anybody.
I kept hearing that too, and I'm like, especially after
I've never
the Super Bowl
understood
show, I was like, maybe it's just because I've listened to it, but like, I was like, damn, like, you know, he was speaking pretty clear.
Yeah.
I've definitely heard worse rapping, that, like, you know.
If you can
I don't
compare-
like. I will like. Look, okay, it is not like a black and white issue because like there is mumble rap, and that mumble
Yeah.
rap is literally ineligible.
But I,
Right,
but I
right.
wouldn't call Kendrick Lamar mumble.
No, I mean,
Right.
yeah, not at all.
Yeah, you're also
No.
the talk,
He's
like,
amazing.
and especially because like I can understand because I listen to like some like heavy metal screamo music
Yeah,
too.
no, I've
sometimes.
never understood that.
And yeah,
Too
exactly.
white for me.
Like it's not to
Yes.
culture appropriate here.
You son of a bitch.
Crazy like this allows me to bring out my sombrero.
The first clip, our first clip goes viral. Mexican comes on white show and culturally appropriates. Democratic leader comes on and culturally appropriates.
I was sitting at Old Town.
Fucking
the
next
other day.
week, the headline on Ben Shapiro's fucking show. We got a little story here from Lancaster, South Carolina.
These Mexicans are not just stealing our jobs; they're our culture now.
It's so good. That would be so funny.
I was sitting at
I actually
Old Town.
don't hate Ben Shapiro. I disagree with him a lot, but the guy is like reasonable when he wants
You
to be.
nailed
He
his
just
voice.
he's very antagonistic
Oh,
on
yes.
purpose for views.
Well, he's
and I
making
get it.
money off of it.
Exactly,
Yeah,
and that's
you
that's
know.
what I try and tell people.
But,
Because like Joe is one of the few people that will have him on and like talk shit with him.
Yeah.
Like be like, hey, I don't agree with this. Let's talk about it, and
Yeah.
then they'll talk about it pretty thoughtfully. And like Ben will be a little more on the like, I don't know about that. Like I think you're wrong, but like is still very like, you know what, you might have a point there. Especially when it has like Jordan on. He'll have like Jordan Peterson on, like Ben will, and like Jordan will be like, well, Ben, that's not very thoughtful of you. It's like the funniest little like jab at his own, because they're like very similarly minded on a
Yeah.
lot of stuff.
It's like Gina Carano. As soon as Disney kicked her out, Ben Shapiro was there with the wire and be like, "Hey man, come
Yeah,
over
you
here.
wanna-
We
you
can
wanna
make
talk-
money
you wanna
off
talk
of
some
you."
shit?
Yeah, it's like we can make money.
She's
off
great.
Of
I
you.
love her. I feel so bad that she got
I-
shafted the way she did.
I like her, but I don't like that. Now that she's been shafted, she's like, "Oh, this is my personality," because you can
she
tell before
isn't.
that.
No, that's you're falling for it. That's you're seeing one side of it.
Well, no, but I
follow
mean-
her. Don't follow. Don't look at the headlines that she. Follow her account.
Yeah.
She is still the most loving person. She wants everyone to be happy. She preaches both sides when they're reasonable. She is one of my favorite people in Hollywood because she's one of the only ones in Hollywood that is not like placating to one group of people for views. She's giving out her actual well thought out perspective rather
Listen.
than just going like, the liberals will like me for saying this, so I'm going
Yeah.
to say it, and the Republicans will
I'll
like me
still
for saying
listen
this.
to her.
Yeah.
Well, it's mostly because she's a beautiful lady. Like, you know, like, she's,
Of course.
she's hot.
All Creighton sees is titties.
No.
He doesn't see
No.
Republican or Democrat.
I see like a woman that could like step on my neck, and I'm like, I don't know how I feel about that, but I'm a little. You know.
Okay. This went a
Every-
direction
every
me and
conversation
Alejandro were
gets-
not prepared for.
Slide a little closer to your chair.
Hey, over here. You come sit in this corner. Creighton with his fucking...
No, but
Marshmallow.
it's super cool because
It is a nice marshmallow.
like I think you make a great point. Like, listen to the actual people they're talking about, not just what they're talking about to the people. Because
Yeah.
I used to hate Ben Shapiro. Genuinely used to hate Ben Shapiro just because I only heard what people said about it. Then I heard of him, and I'm like, you know what? He still sucks, but he's definitely like
he's
the
trying
piece
to-
of shit that I thought he was.
Yeah.
He's
it's not the
banking
same.
off the persona. Of being a piece of
Exactly,
shit.
exactly. Like you said, it almost
He makes a
feels
lot
like
of
he
good
does a
points, but
character.
damn it, he is a Jew. That's one of my favorite, like, the Republicans who don't like him. like, that's not what they're saying, but you just know it's what they want
I
to say.
feel like
Exactly.
that's
sometimes.
something you heard at a poker game.
Yeah, literally. I like some of that shit he said about them protesters, but he's still a fucking Jew. It's
You're like,
so
he's
funny to
okay
hear
for a
them.
Jewish guy.
He's okay for one of them fucking Hanukkahs.
And that's honestly one of the craziest thing that like is going on right now. Like, dude, I agreed with Tucker Carlson the other day. That blew me away. I was
What,
like,
what did you
Well,
agree
he's
with
not.
him
He's
about?
not being fucking like directed by the Republican Party to say stuff. Now he's giving his
Exactly.
opinion on
Exactly.
shit.
Did you see his interview with Ted Cruz?
That's what I'm talking
That's
about.
what
Yeah,
you're-
that's what I'm talking about. Like, he fucking cooked.
Yeah.
And for me to be like, I never thought that would be a sentence I ever said about
Yeah.
Tucker Carlson. You know,
Yeah.
he.
I
ate-
gotta say, out of all the people, I knew it was gonna be Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz just constantly fucks up as a governor, as like a senator.
Someone who I've been a fan of for a long time. I've been even more of a fan than I've ever been lately. Is Bill Maher, because he's had
Oh, dude,
all
I
the
love Bill
people
Maher.
he would usually hate on his show and having fucking reasonable conversations with him and allowing them to like be reasonable with him and his very very liberal audience.
Yes.
He might have the most liberal audience that is
Yeah.
like finally reach, and that's why I think we're feeling it. I think that's why we're feeling this like air of reasonability
Yeah.
in like the public conversation is Bill Maher. To me, it's like that's the first time I've seen the very liberal side start to go, wait a second, COVID was ridiculous. Are we not going to we're going to keep pretending that COVID was like what we said it was? We're not going to like agree with the things that happened? And like that was like the stepping stone. That was
Yeah.
the first big stepping stone that allowed you to reach the other stones. And now he's like, okay, let's talk to fucking Charlie Kirk.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That was wild. Charlie
that's-
Kirk's crazy, but it was a good conversation.
That's something that's going on with the right too. Like, Donald Trump has the lowest approval rating of any president, like,
Yeah.
in a while so far. So those people feel very tricked, very duped. How? I don't know. You just have to listen to his speech because he's doing exactly what he said he was going to do. Like, if you voted for him...
Well,
and
a lot of it.
Yeah. If you,
He might put us in a war with Iran, which is against a lot of what the libertarians specifically voted for him for.
Yeah.
He's supposed to be the
peaceful
anti-war.
dove.
Yeah, he's supposed to be the anti-war president, and like, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
But like,
Very shaky.
yeah, that ended up being. I voted for him. I'm not going to pretend I didn't. I was not voting for Kamala, but I was voting for him
You
because
said that
the
like how
Democratic.
you would say it. Kamala.
I was never gonna vote for Kamala. She's probably got camel toe. That Kamala. But no, I voted because they were him and Tulsi specifically were very strict about the understanding that we were not trying to stay in and or start more foreign wars on the behalf of the American economy. That's what happened. These for the last 25 years, almost every war, really post World War II, all wars, a lot of wars have started, whether we took credit for them or not, because
and
of
been
us.
sponsored by us.
And been sponsored,
Yeah.
exactly. And Tulsi, has been for like 7 years has been like the most anti-war Democrat in the country in terms of her like stance. And I'm kind of disappointed in how that's gone.
Yeah.
It's made me real sad.
It's super disappointing.
Where's she in all this?
She's the
Because I never paid attention to where
she's
she
the
ended up being at the
fuck.
And now we're having a political.
The
conversation.
intelligence secretary. I can't remember what her fucking.
She is just the official United States Director of National Intelligence.
There it is.
Okay. Sounds made
So
up.
no big deal. No, not a big job or anything.
That's interesting.
Don't love it. I haven't heard from her in a while. I'd
Yeah.
like to see Joe talk to her.
I
would like to see that.
I would have liked to see her in probably like Secretary of Defense potentially. Like I don't understand why they. Well, maybe I mean, granted, this is a bird's eye view on the whole situation because I don't understand everybody's qualifications and why they do the certain things they do. I didn't like the guy with the eyebrows. That dude
With
was creepy.
the eyebrows.
What's his name? That like he literally Trump appointed him, then Bat Dow appointed him, and he just happened to be able to get out of whatever he was. He was about to go on trial for like.
Oh, you're
the
thinking about
pedophilia thing.
Gates.
Matt Gates, is that his name?
Is that his first name? Gates?
It's like Gatez.
Yeah, Gates. Yeah.
I remember that. I don't remember much about him.
I just didn't like his eyebrows. It freaked me out.
Yeah, he was being investigated for child sex trafficking and all that.
Oh
stuff.
well, I really
the
don't
fun
like
stuff.
him. If all that's true,
Yeah.
allegedly.
I like that.
I say the allegedly to protect us, please.
Yeah, for sure, allegedly.
One thing a lot of people don't like this, but I think it's going to be incredibly necessary to the like public status quo of like how we pick our presidents going forward, whether people like it or not. Is we're how many months into this presidency?
We're almost a year.
Fucking 5 or 6.
We're not a year yet, are we?
Man, we're like 5 or 6 months deep, and 2 weeks ago, JD Vance went on Theo Von's podcast again, as the sitting vice president, followed
Did he?
up. Yeah,
Damn.
went on a podcast. Like, if we're doing this now, I think that needs to be the standard. We need to have these political guys come in and discuss what's going on
Well, it sounds
to
like
the public in a long form way.
Yeah.
Should it be on Theo Von's podcast? Probably not. But we do need not the debate format that we've been doing for the last 40 years.
Or like the what is it where they cut every program off and they just do like the president talking for like 10 minutes to be like, hey, this is what's going on.
Like
And
a
then-
presidential address.
Yeah, I think I get the purpose
We
of
need
that.
a moderator
but
who we need there to be a Joe Rogan and we need there to be a Bill Maher. We need there to be a couple of people who have
Yeah.
different opinions to sit and talk to these people and like have them like look at both sides of an argument rather than like let the
Yeah.
media dictate the
Do you
story
remember
that's
that
going to be
interview
messaged.
they did with Joe Biden right before he dropped out? And he was like, I'm in the best shape I've ever been. And it's like, he just capped at like 45 minutes or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, that is just, I don't like those.
Yeah.
Gabriel Iglesias said it a long time ago in one of his comedy specials. Like, that's how we have to have. We just have an American Idol style presidency.
Yeah.
We're just
Yes.
and we're just gonna call it "Who's gonna run this bitch?"
Yeah, yes,
Just-
it's perfect.
And
And,
just
like,
have them go at it.
I like it's crazy we got here, but honestly, in the way that people are dissecting media now, I think it's the best way to do it. If you want to sit for 3 hours and listen to the president of your country,
Right.
you should be able to
Yeah.
if they're willing and able to. That's the thing. JD Vance can sit and hang with the numbers, with the policy. He can support his argument better than anyone else in the Republican Party.
Well, it reminds me a lot of FDR's fireside chats.
Yeah,
where he would
yeah,
just go on the
exactly.
radio
That's exactly
in
he's
the middle of
always
the
on there.
Depression and was just like, "This is what we're doing. This is what we're gonna
Well,
do."
but
You know?
Abraham Lincoln, he would fucking go to a town and talk for 6 hours.
he would go to
and then
any
there'd be a
random
six,
theaters,
6
anything
hour
like that.
rebuttal, and then another 6 hour rebuttal, and another 6 hour rebuttal. It would be like a 3-day event, sitting in front of like 700 people,
Yeah.
I'd go
explaining
to that.
what needs to happen in this country.
I'd take a long
And almost
weekend.
like never planned. He would just show up and be like, "I feel like arguing." Like he would just.
He'd be like if you're the Republican guy, he'd be like, "Hey, how do you feel about this? Oh,
Yeah.
you disagree? Let's go to Chattanooga
In my mind, he
and
rolls
fuck
up.
shit up in a theater."
He rolls up to like he's like in the 1800s. He's like, "Show me who can read."
A woman's like, "I
That's
can."
awesome. That's so funny.
A woman's like, "I can." They're like, "Okay, well, burn her." Any man who can read.
She's clearly a witch. Whether she can read or not, if she thinks she can, burn that lady. That's not a lady we shouldn't be reading. They shouldn't be
Her
reading.
loins have been spoiled by the ability to read.
But even with that though, it's scary because Fox News just posted an AI video with JD Vance
Yeah.
as like a
What?
like he addressed
Why?
the people.
Why did Fox News do it? I mean, I guess is what I'm getting at.
Well,
Because
Fox
it
News
seems like it would benefit.
Fox News is one of the biggest producers of misinformation. Like it's simple. Like that's honestly the easiest way to break it down. Because there was even where Trump had a speech, they put in audio of crowds cheering.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can find the original video of like there's a little bit of noise back there, but they make it seem like Trump had to be like, calm down, calm down, calm down. Let me speak. And it's just they're known for misinformation. They have the
Have you
highest
ever been to one of those things?
to Donald
A
Trump.
Trump rally?
No.
They are cheering.
Yeah, they are cheering.
It's not happening.
They for sure are. But the way like that video was like, dude, it is. You can see a side because again,
Yeah.
CNN and Fox News play side by side in most places.
And both of them are really fucked up about
right
editing
how
shit.
they edit their.
They
shit.
made Joe Rogan yellow when he had COVID. That's crazy.
Yeah, like it is crazy. Like,
But it's like you said, it's the battle of misinformation.
Exactly.
Who can lie the best and make it the most reasonable that people will go with it and continue to spread that lie?
Yeah, that's why there's like apps like Ground News right now who are like,
Oh, I've been reading about them.
Yeah,
on at work we have I have a lot of downtime, so I read a lot on the internet. And like,
All he does is, whoa, never mind.
what are you gonna say?
Almost said your job. Forgot we weren't doing
We've
that.
dropped it. Like
I know,
what
but
did I
still,
know?
it's okay. Never mind.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
it's okay.
It was a
I was
joke.
gonna
I'm
say-
not gonna make it.
All I do is sit in in front of a computer all day. So and there's downtime. So I've been looking for like things that I can read that gets past the work blocks.
yeah,
And I've also been looking at ways to get past work blocks. But anyways, it's like being back in school. Ground News was one of them, and I've been reading it, and it's really cool. It's got like a comparison at the bottom, like this is what this side's saying, this is what that's saying. Here's what's actually happened factually.
yeah, and that's what I don't know how to get people to listen to stuff like that. I don't know how to get to people to listen to
You're
real
doing
information.
it. You're doing it right now.
I'm trying. That's for sure. Like, it's definitely just an effort.
Even if you touch like the 10 people that listen to this, those 10 people could go and tell 10 other people, and then what you're saying, it's like telephone. I mean, they might not remember ground news, but they'll remember to look for, hey, let's try to find something that's not biased.
Yeah, and that's what I try to tell people, because like, people don't believe that I watch Fox News when I talk about my posts, because they're like, you clearly only listen to one side of the media. I'm like, no, I listen to both sides. I just make my own opinions and state those. Like,
Exactly.
I can come up with my ideas even if I listen to both sides of the spectrum.
Well, on the other side too, it's hard to keep up with everything, because I mean, even if you're listening, even if you go home and you watch CNN and you watch Fox News and you have them on at the same time, or you spend an hour on one, an hour on the other. There's other news sites online that like are TikTokers, that are people that make reels, people that like have a blog on Facebook, blog on Facebook, and like that are spreading their own version of the news. That you're not going to be able to absorb everything and be like, this is what actually happened.
Yeah, but you have so many people who distrust it. Like, the amount of people that I was like, Google is free. And they're like, of course you would use
I don't trust Google anymore either. Google AI is like, I've searched specific answers to questions I know the answer of, and Google AI has no clue how to answer so many things.
Either that or Charlie doesn't know.
I'm not asking Google AI though. I'm using
Google AI is the AI overview. It's
Well,
the
yeah,
first
but you
thing
can't
get now.
turn that off.
But that's not even what I'm saying. I'm saying I use Google to find studies. I use Google to find places, because that's what I said. I was like, like, if who's someone you trust? Like, what's something that you would be like, I can get this information from? Like, do you trust Harvard? Do you trust these universities? Do you trust these nonprofits? No. Do you trust these independent investigators? Do you trust these people? How do you get to them?
I tell you what I started doing too is like, anytime either news outlet is like, the White House released this today, every press release that the White House has, you can go to their website and find and like read for yourself verbatim what they're saying. And like, there'll be certain things on both sides where like, if you take a sentence out here, it looks like it's one complete thing than what the whole statement is.
And that's part of what pisses me off. Like, with the big beautiful bill, that shit's over 1,000 pages.
Yeah, every for the last 100 years, every bill is like overstacked with nonsense.
Right.
That is ridiculous. Both sides. That's just like a factor of the way we do politics.
Yeah, and I've had
legislation.
I've had people be like, I've read that thing. And I'm like, dude, I was in your high school class when you had to read the 3 sentences. I know for a fact you didn't read a whole page when you couldn't even pronounce like simple words in your history book there. Like, when we popcorn
you don't even know what onomatopoeia is, let alone how to fucking spell it.
Right.
I know what Batman villain that is.
Like, dude, when we were popcorn reading, you were like, the U.S. government.
John Proctor didn't burn. Wait.
Dude, I had one kid in one class once. It was a government class, and they gave us flashcards, and she was like, you have to guess the definition of them. And this one kid goes, I don't know what mom says, teacher. This must be some kind of French word. This says pardon. And they were like, what? And he says, yeah, this says pardon. And we were like, that says pardon. He said, beg your pardon? And we were like, that word is pardon. And he said, beg your pardon? And the teacher, she just looked at him and was just like, we're going to move on?
Yeah, that's
like,
amazing.
Like, we're just going to move on. Like, and you're going to sit here and tell me that dude read over 1,000 pages of legislation?
Who do you listen to when it comes to, like, the news? Who do you listen to that you agree with the most often?
My favorite commentator, anything like that, Hassan Piker.
Who?
Hassan Piker. Hassan Piker is one of my favorite all-time.
What's he on?
Twitch.
Okay.
He posts all of his stuff on YouTube too. His stuff on YouTube, like, if anybody wants to listen to Hassan Piker, I definitely recommend going onto his YouTube. All of his stuff is free, like free use. Yeah. So he has one YouTube channel that belongs to him. It's Hasanabi, and then he has a whole bunch of other people who just do it. And he doesn't pay them, but he doesn't charge them. He lets them use, like, his IP is up there for free. Anybody can download it and make their own React channels. And he shouts out those other React channels. Like, there's the one I watch the most is called literally Hasanabi Reactions.
Yeah.
And he shouts them out all the time. He's like, go check them out, because they do a good job of, as he's talking, they'll edit, like, actual news articles. They'll edit actual, like, facts. They'll edit actual things. So you can... And I love that because I can pause the video.
That's what Tim Dillon's show has become.
Yeah.
It's almost like the Weekend Update version of
like comedy news now is he'll talk about things, and as it's happening, they'll edit in like the visual aid.
Exactly, and I love stuff like that. And I tell
Not that
people-
Tim Dillon is news. That's not what I mean. He does
just
that
fun
also.
to watch.
Yeah,
And
I don't want to be one of those guys that you think that's how I get my news.
I
That's how I
recommend
get some of it.
people watching that kind of stuff because if you don't believe it, those are the news articles. Look that up.
Yeah,
read
yeah.
the whole story. Read the whole study. Do it the whole thing. I think he's
I like
very
Crystal and
diligent.
Sagar, Breaking Points.
Mm-hmm.
They're great. I like them because they're really good friends and they disagree a lot.
Yes.
Like you have one really Republican dude and one really liberal lady, and they're like best friends. And like she'll be like, Sagar, you're being fucking stupid. Like she'll be like straight up like you're being dumb Republican guy today. He's like, yeah, well you're being stupid liberal idiot today. and they'll talk, but like not that's haha. That's a silly way of putting it. They're very reasonable and very thoughtful in their show and like in making the best point of the argument for each side.
And they make a good job of you do not need to let your political beliefs dictate how
Your
good of a
friendship.
friend you are. Exactly. Like it's because they're like, there's no doubt that any of those people would die for any of those people at that table.
Yeah.
And I've heard some of them where they get into like some serious arguments where they're like, dude, shut the fuck up. I cannot hear you say another word right now.
How do you feel about Dave Smith? Do you know who Dave Smith is?
I'm not sure.
Look up you'll know his face.
I was about to
or
say,
not.
the name sounds
it's,
familiar.
It's one of those names that like it's fucking Dave
It's so
Smith.
generic,
It's so
right?
generic that you might not.
Okay, yeah. He's one of those, like, he made that big statement on Iran just now, too.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like, that's always been a person that I don't listen too much of, but especially now that I'm like, hey, he's at least owned up to something.
His
let's keep him out.
recall is unbelievable on all of these issues. He's been a big Rand Paul guy for like 15 years. And like in his words, I'm like not super verbatim, but I'm gonna try and say it. This is how he praised him. He said, "Rand Paul is the most important political figure of the last fucking 100 years. Like he should be the guy that's running everything. Like he's very, very like high octane libertarian energy / wants Rand Paul to be in charge / this guy has like been looking out for the important stuff the whole time.
Yeah,
the most anti-war guy in the world. Like wants to hold America to the highest. What's the word? He wants us to take responsibility for all the wars we've started in a lot of ways, and he's very pro. But he's also like, and here's why the Republicans are wrong, and here's why the liberals are wrong about this, and like very, very
fair.
Like attacking. And he's just an incredible comedian too. Like it's hilarious.
Yeah.
He's like because he's on Legion of Skanks. Like the Legion of Skanks podcast is Big J Okerson, Louis J Gomez, and Dave Smith, the political pundit. Like it's the most ridiculous. Like they have like it's like the old school Howard Stern. Like they have women come on there and like queef into a microphone / like Big J was afraid to get his he hated when people pulled their cuticles back. Like he couldn't even see it, let alone have it done to him.
Yeah,
so they had a little Asian lady come on and do his nails, and now like he gets his nails done every week. like they're a crazy. They do a live show in a comedy play, like in a comedy club.
Yeah.
They do the podcast live in a comedy club with an audience, and they smoke weed at the table in public. They're doing crazy shit, and Dave Smith's one of them. And then you hear him go on and have these unbelievably well thought out, incredible recall ability. Like he's doing these debates on Piers Morgan on the biggest like platforms for political commentation, and he's hanging / eating everyone's lunch every time. So rarely is he losing. The only times it looks like he's losing are when people are tweeting him, and he goes and fucks people up on Twitter too. Yeah. He challenges everyone. He challenged Dave Rube. I like that he challenges everyone on both sides.
Yeah.
He's like, fucking tell me I'm wrong and explain how.
And that's a big reason why I like Hassan Piker, because I had never seen anybody yell at his own chat more than him.
Yeah.
Like, he'll call his fucking... He'll be like, chat, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Like, you're being fucking ridiculous. He's been on Piers Morgan, and he'll just, like... He'll talk about the... Like, what was the people... I want to say it was Patrick Bet-David, who was on there with Piers Morgan. And he started... No, it was Vinny. It was Vinny from... Anyways... His tone was like he was just like, here's facts, and all of a sudden they were like, why are we listening to this socialist dumbass who's been alive for 3 seconds? You've been in the political scene for only 10 years, which is like 1 day compared to us, this, that, and the other. And he was just like, dude, chill out. You're gonna pop that vein in your neck that gets agitated every time you get upset. Like, chill.
Yeah.
And he's just like if you're not gonna take me serious, I'm not gonna take you serious.
Exactly.
And it's just because there's no point in that. And his energy is very aggressive. I look up to him a lot because he was one of the first people for me that was like a leftist that wasn't too serious. Like, he's not the kind that, because I'm on the left, I have to hold this, like, posture, like how Democrats are, like, we have to be the better person, we have to be the bigger person, we're never gonna aim low, we're never gonna talk shit. And it's like, dude, you have to speak up
attack
and
your
say
own
shit.
people when they're wrong.
Exactly.
You can't just assume everyone's right.
Exactly.
It's the fucking Louis C.K. being a liberal.
Exactly.
It's,
you know?
it's like you have to hold yourself accountable to the people that you are like agreeing with.
Right, like, it sucks, but like it's like even with people who are like, the Confederate flag is my heritage, and it's like, sure, claim that if you want, but there's a bigger symbol behind that, the flag. It's not just about heritage, you know. They fought for one thing in particular more than anything. You can say states' rights all you want, but in their Articles of Confederacy that says to protect slavery. Like, you can try to twist it as much as you want, but if you want to accept something...
Well, you see, slavery was real important for lots of different things, though. Like, we wouldn't have all of this.
and
Gestures to America.
Right.
I love when they try and make that argument.
Dude, I love shit like that. And that's like the whole, like, illegal is illegal. Illegal is illegal. Brother, you used to sell Xanax in high school. Your locker used to be full of weed and Xanax. Like,
Exactly.
Don't talk to me about illegal is... I had one dude who came up to... Who, like, talked to me. He's like, I served this country. That means my opinion matters. And I was like, well, I did it, and my opinion also matters.
Yeah, like,
it's
what
not
are you
just
talking
like
about?
services. I mean, not to discredit the service people, but like everybody.
Did you
has
go
the
to
same.
jail
That's
for
the
beating
whole
up
point.
your wife?
I was like, he was like, dude, just don't do anything illegal. And I was like, dude, you used to sell dabs, like dab pins. Not only did you sell dab pins in school, but you lived in Rock Hill.
You sold it to minors.
Exactly, you sold it to minors. You went to Charlotte to buy them and sold them in South Carolina. You trafficked hard drugs across state borders. You are a felon. Like, just shut up. Crossing the borders holds the same legality as jaywalking. Like, you're not, like, you cannot compare the two. One is a misdemeanor, the other one is a fucking felon. Like, and don't sit here and tell me the law is the law. Every time you go check your mailbox, that's jaywalking across the street. You telling me you've never looked at your phone while you're driving? You always put your seat, especially in this town, you always put your seatbelts on. You've never had a beer while driving. Come on, do not sit here and tell me the law is the law.
Have you ever seen that clip? That's this whole segue. But have you ever seen that clip where they're like beginning to outlaw drinking and driving?
My God.
Yeah,
It's
that's hilarious.
so funny.
What
She's
is this,
like,
communism?
she's like,
Not being able to have a beer on your way back from work, I mean, pretty soon it's going to be a communist country.
It's unbelievable.
and she's got like the kid in the car
She's got a
seat.
kid in the car seat, in the front seat. In her
Well,
lap.
to be fair, that
No
isn't-
seatbelt.
There's a
isn't that
baby seat in the
truck?
back.
It's like a cup. It's like a cab truck, isn't it?
Yeah. It
So
is.
there's nowhere else to put the kid. But like it is just a hilarious video.
Yeah, dude, and it's that's part of the stuff that's aggravating, because I'm like, dude, you guys realize that the law changes. The law is flexible. Like, the law does not equal morality.
Yeah.
At some point, owning slaves was legal.
Yeah.
At some point, beating women was legal. At
Yeah.
some point, lobotomies were legal.
Well, I think, and it's still technically. I know this might be a myth, but that I think technically you could bring your wife to the courthouse steps and still beat her.
That is actually illegal in South Carolina. That is legal in South
Yeah, yeah,
Carolina.
yeah.
It's illegal to play pinball in South
Now
Carolina.
it's illegal to assault someone,
Right.
But
Well,
you said it's illegal to play pinball.
Yeah, it's
is.
It's illegal.
It's illegal to play pinball in most states.
Yeah.
What?
It's technically gambling.
Yeah, it's a form of gambling.
How?
Because
It's gambling.
yeah, you put
Don't
money,
ask questions, you dumb idiot.
Well,
Obviously,
no. I
it's gambling.
don't understand how it's gambling.
You put money in and you get something out of it.
Yeah, but that's every arcade game.
Yeah, it's
Exactly.
gambling.
True. The rest of them have just been stricken from the law.
Yeah, pinball,
Pinball
in
has
particular
it.
has
It's
it. Yeah,
poker.
exactly.
It's poker is not like poker's illegal, but it's not illegal.
Right.
Like, it is.
I was
but
about
it
to
is.
say because, like, dude, I know a place that is doing pinball crazy.
and,
Yeah.
and publicly.
Yeah, and publicly.
Yeah, it's just those laws that don't matter. It's the same thing when like people try to bring in religion, where they're like, "Well, according to the Bible, this, and this." Well, according to the Bible, you're not supposed to wear mixed fabrics.
Dude, you got some stress going on. I feel some stress nuts back here.
According to the
Talking
Bible,
to the cat.
Sorry.
no, he's actually just giving me a shoulder
I'm
massage
talking
randomly.
to Charlie, actually.
Yeah,
All this political
you
unrest
can't
is
have
really...
tattoos. There's all kinds of
Yeah,
shit
that's
in
what
the
I'm
Bible
saying.
that's,
Like, you cannot sit here and nitpick. You either fully believe it or you don't.
Yeah.
Like, you either are flexible or you're not.
There's just nuances to it.
There is.
And nobody wants to acknowledge... Well, there's a sect of people that don't want to acknowledge the nuances.
Yeah, for sure. Because, man, my big thing is, as long as you're not hurting anybody, I don't care what you do.
Yeah.
I don't care. Because I've even told people, like, I would respect people if they just looked me in my face and were like, "You're a filthy wetback," rather than like pretending that they like me and then behind my back say stuff like that. Like, I will respect you 1,000 times just because you can say that, but you're not gonna do anything. Like, you're not gonna like nothing's gonna happen. My feelings are not gonna get hurt. I've been called worse by people I care more about. So like, just be honest with me. Just be straightforward with what you want to say and what you want to do with your opinions. Cause I'll respect you a hell of a more. Like, there's no point in you being fake. That's a big issue around here. I feel like.
You know what, Alejandro? For a Mexican, you're pretty cool. Pretty reasonable.
Oh my god, dude! The amount of times I've heard that, dude. The amount of times I've genuinely heard that.
Of times it was like unironic.
Yeah. Oh my
they were
god.
not being silly. They meant it incredibly literally.
Dude,
We're trying to be very sweet.
I once had to break down like the dollar to peso
I
ratio.
want this Mexican to like me.
Because I explained to one dude, like, my aunt works in a lime factory in Mexico. She works 6 days a week, 12 hours a day. At the end of the week, she brings home between 500 and 600 pesos. That's $30. That's $30 US. And I'll start breaking shit down like that to some people and be like, damn, these Mexicans might be onto something. Like, like they think like...
Oh, one of the most racist people I've ever known in my life, like, will make the argument... And this is how he words it. It's incredibly insulting, but the like essence of the argument is there, where he's like, if I was sitting on a donkey next to a dry riverbed and I looked over and across the hills I saw running water and a guy driving a fucking Corvette with the top down holding a sweet tea, I'd try and get over here too. And like he's saying it like that piece of shit lives over there and is living like that. Of course I want to go live in America. But, like, the essence of what he's saying is also very, like, yeah, no, I would do that. Yeah, like, he's saying it like a piece of shit, but he also hilariously understands the situation.
Yeah, because that has the same vibe as, like, in Switzerland, I think it is. If you get arrested and you resist, there's no charge. There's no extra charge for resisting arrest.
What?
If you try to escape from prison, there is no extra
charge. They're like,
charges.
oh, you silly guy, we got you now, though.
Yeah.
When they finally catch you, they're like, wow, you gave us a real run for our money there. We got you.
Just be like, no, and walk away.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just because they're like,
that's crazy.
It's human nature. Like, it's human nature. If I right now slammed you on the ground and say, put your hands behind your back, you're going to, like, tense up, freeze up. That's a scary situation.
Nah, I'd take it like a champ.
Well, yeah, we did find out that Creighton might like that.
Only if it's Gina
Creighton
Carano.
wants Gina Carano to step on his neck.
I mean, I told him I'd do it to him, and he said he'd take it, so...
He might just want to get hurt.
Right. Every conversation gets me closer to Creighton.
Dude, you're like picking up all your stuff.
I'm literally just like, I'm
okay.
I have a lot of.
I thought you were trying.
System.
I thought you were trying to be like,
up.
I need to go take a shit.
No, I'm chilling. I literally just. I mean, it is approaching the time, but
yeah, we definitely are.
I'm not like in a rush. Right
yeah, but we definitely are approaching that time.
I used to watch Philip DeFranco.
I love Philip DeFranco.
You love Philip DeFranco?
I love Philip DeFranco.
Okay. I have not. I don't know. I haven't been a huge fan recently, just because like it used to feel like he would just tell you the stories and then like his thoughts, but it's like now when he's telling you the stories, his thoughts are already interjected into them, and I'm not a fan of that just because I want like more non-biased journalism in my life.
Yeah, for sure. But I think he also does a good job of like, here's the articles, here's where the information is coming from.
He does a good job with that, yeah, providing where like you can get the information.
Yeah, but he definitely has peppered in his... He definitely started peppering in his opinion more, but I also think it's just because the audience he has is like the audience he's gonna have.
Exactly.
Like it's probably not gonna grow anymore from where he's at.
Exactly.
And so he's like
one thing I always appreciated about him was he has his own reporters, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that a lot of the people are starting. A lot of the big like new age media, like the relevant media, like Breaking Points, like Jimmy Dore, like Philip DeFranco, like they have their own people and they're like doing this now. I like that. I like that they're doing that. I'm kind of on Creighton's side of Philip. I used to love him. I used to watch his show like religiously.
Charlie put me on him.
I used
in
to
the middle of
we would watch them together just because I was like, hey, I know we're hanging. I gotta get my Philly D in for the day.
Right.
And,
Gotta get filled in for the day.
Yeah, I gotta get filled in. Yeah. And I could not. It got to a point where I was like, God, it's just getting like I feel like I'm being waterboarded
Yeah.
with his opinion.
Yeah,
'Cause
for
it's
That's
sure.
why I don't listen to Joe Rogan really anymore. Is because like I got on him for like a second, like almost to where Charlie is, and then it just became like I was hearing the same stuff over and over again. I was like, "This is."
He definitely repeats. A lot of
I
shit.
was like, well, this was cool, like the first 20 times.
My
And
favorite
now,
thing about
like,
when he
you know,
repeats stuff is he's usually repeating it to like a different weird type of person.
he is, but
He'll repeat like
you've
a
heard
political thing to like the beekeeper lady. And she'll be like, I think that's silly and dumb and I don't want to talk about it. And he's like, okay, do you like movies? She's like, I love Iron Man. Like,
I thought you were
like,
saying
yeah.
I love B movies.
That's-
Oh my god.
That's one of my favorite Bill Burr moments that he's had recently, where he was on the red carpet for
That was the
something.
best moments
What?
in comedy in the last 25
Wait, what
years.
happened?
Because somebody came up to him and they were like, "What's your opinion with like the Israel-Palestine issue going on right now?" He was like, "I don't fucking know. I'm a
It was the
comedian."
Elon thing.
Yeah, it was the Elon thing.
It
Yeah,
was
yeah,
the
yeah,
Elon
yeah,
thing. He said, I'm not going to give you some stupid fucking clip soundbite that you can use against Elon or me or anybody. I'm a fucking clown for a living.
Right.
I make people laugh. Don't ask me about this shit. And then someone asks him literally the next question, and he's like, do a better job.
Yeah,
Do
genuinely.
the research yourself. Figure out the facts. Stop asking my opinion. My opinion doesn't matter.
Right,
I make people laugh for a living.
Right, he
I'm
said,
not
"Why would-"
supposed to be. My opinion shouldn't matter on the news.
Right.
And he walks away. He's like, "Do your job."
I've seen that clip.
Yeah,
it's such a good-
clip.
Because he was like,
He's
"Why
amazing.
would
Are
you
we
ask
all
a
on the
Jesse?"
same little bot thing that decides what we watch for reels?
Our algorithms are probably just
Yeah.
really similar
Yeah.
in a lot of ways.
And I think a lot of people don't realize, like us, we may have different opinions on certain things, but most people agree on a lot of the same shit. Like,
Yeah.
even with this issue with immigration, the majority of the country is not for mass deportation. The majority of country is for mass amnesty.
yes.
You can easily do mass amnesty. It would boost the economy. It would help the situation. You would vet all these people immediately. People are more likely to participate because there's actually something that benefits them,
Yeah.
rather than mass deportation that does all of the opposite and costs billions of dollars.
Yeah, I think I agree too for the most part. I think where he got me is like taking away birthright citizenship, or trying to take away birthright citizenship, because then it's
Yeah,
like
that's wild.
like I know he was like, oh, for this amount of time, but it's like where it's a slippery slope. Because
Yeah.
technically, none of us were born here, really. You know,
If you think about it,
except for the Native Americans.
Yeah, that's my new favorite thing to call like people who get upset over immigration. I just started calling people European Americans,
I love
and
that.
they get so mad.
But
like,
it's technically true. I mean, like, how far back are we gonna go?
Yeah,
Like,
dude.
you know?
Dude, I had somebody tell me, like, I had an argument against immigration, and she literally said, my grandparents came through Ellis Island. And I was like, holy shit. Like, what are you talking
You're
about?
2 generations in, you lunatic.
Right, you're literally 2 generations. And she's like Italian. And I'm like, dude, I don't know if you know this, but the biggest mass lynching to ever happen in the United States was actually done to the Italian community.
It sure fucking was.
And I'm like, what you're saying right
I'm
now.
Italian, by the way.
Are you? I had no idea.
Shut up.
You've never brought it up at all on this whole podcast. In the 6 years and 14 years of friendship that we've had, I've never known that you were Italian.
What's the thing you hate the most about getting lumped in with like liberal talking points that you don't agree with? What's the thing that you're like?
That's a good question.
What's the thing that you're like? Yeah, you have a good point about that. When someone like attacks liberals for like a ridiculous ideology.
Guns.
Yeah, Alejandro. What is
Guns.
it?
Yeah, that's,
Guns.
Yeah.
Like, guns is the number one because I am definitely for, like, some kind of gun reform, some gun changing.
Yeah.
But the second I'm like, we need to do something to kind of help the gun issue happen, they're like, fucking liberal want to take my guns. Come, I will fucking kill you dead. Come get this gun from me. And I'm
Yeah.
like, no one. I do think we should take your gun away for sure now. But how am I saying that wasn't what I was starting with?
Someone recently had a really good take on it that I was talking to, where they said trying to take away everyone's guns is like in cities, it's a death sentence for half of the like 15 to 35-year-old woman population, because no woman will be allowed to walk around a city by herself.
Yeah.
You want to take guns away? You're taking away the protection of most young women in this country who want to be their own person.
Yeah, and I just tell people, like, I just think there should be a better way, because, like, I've had this conversation with people where I'm like, yeah, dude, I can get a gun right now. I have a gun in my pocket right now.
Yeah.
And they're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I
No
don't.
one ever believes I have
Right.
a gun in my pocket.
Right.
They
I'm
can't
like, I
believe
don't
it.
actually have a gun in my pocket, but you see how, like, easily it is for you to believe that someone like me would just have a gun in my pocket, because that's just how easily accessible they are. Like, and people are like, well, I still don't think, they should be touching my guns. And I'm like,
I feel like that a lot of times in this argument, I've heard people bring up, well, look at places, is it Britain that the police force doesn't have weapons or something like that?
Yeah, well, the citizens in the police force, like the military does, but
but I mean,
you're not allowed to have
the
guns.
police force doesn't, is what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, we should do that here. I'm like, well, it would be really hard to do that here.
Well, they also
because,
don't
like,
talk about all the knifings.
that too. There's
happen
that.
because
But I
there's
mean,
no
like,
guns.
you're talking about, like, a place that, like, having a gun is literally the second, like, rule.
Yeah.
So, like, to come in and be like, everybody's going to have sticks and knives, and we're taking all the guns, like, that's just not going to work.
yeah, and I agree. Like, it's definitely not going to work.
Crime's
but
gonna crime.
It's a different environment, too.
Yeah,
like,
but
it's a different culture,
there's
different
something we
environment.
definitely need to do, though.
Yeah,
Like,
and I'm not,
And I am not.
I don't think an American citizen should be easily able to acquire a Gatling gun.
Exactly.
Like, I don't think a guy should have a fucking Warthog turret on his Jeep.
Yeah,
That's a little silly to me.
Yeah.
That's a little, like, look, if you want a handgun in your
we're
pocket
talking
for
about being
protection,
un-American right now.
like,
You just said my wet dream. Like.
yeah. Well, so that same person, that same girl who I talked about earlier, someone who's close to her.
Gina Carano?
No, the one who had who was worried about Iran nuking us somehow. I was like, first of all,
the 22-year-old.
they're gonna have they want to nuke themselves. Like, they're like, relax. They're talking about nuking people 20 minutes away. Yeah. They're not gonna nuke America.
That is really silly. Like 20 minutes away.
And let alone there's that, and then also like they're worried that Iran has sleeper agents in America. They're worried about these things, right? And they're also at the same time they're worried that like we have too many guns in America. I'm like, okay, let's pretend we're going to tackle this issue. Let's pretend for a second we're going to tackle this gun issue, right? The way that you think we should, which is take all the guns away. If we could take all the guns away, there's going to be 11 civil wars.
Yeah.
In this country, like at the same time, and it's not like it's not feasible, but two, it's the nuke. It's nukes existing. This one of these other people was another person I was talking to recently was like, we shouldn't have nukes, and I was like, of course.
I know exactly who you're talking about.
Of course we shouldn't have nukes. It's crazy that we have nukes.
Yeah,
Here's the thing. We've got them now. That's like saying there shouldn't be venomous snakes, bro.
It sucks.
Fucking like Darwin figured this shit out. Like these things happen.
It injects.
These things happen. Evolution happens. We have these deterrents. Now, the genie is out of the bottle.
Yeah.
There's 400 million guns that are registered in this country. Forget about the unregistered weapons. Like, I have a registered firearm. It's in my pocket. Like, I have it with me often. Like, I've seen crazy shit in the world.
Yeah.
If shit goes down, I don't want to be afraid that the guy with the gun is going to find me hiding in the corner.
Exactly.
I'm going to hide in the corner anyway, but if he finds me, I'm not going down quiet. Yeah. I'm not letting this guy dictate how my life's going to go. And I hope it never happens. I hope I never have to use that weapon, but I'm going to have it because it's cheap. Yeah. Like at the end of the day, it's pepper spray. It's just way better pepper spray.
Yeah, and that's why, like, again, with these protests, I'm like, I understand we don't condone violence, but like, if the Black Panthers didn't march around with their machine guns and pistols and stuff, would they have ever been taken seriously?
Exactly.
Like I am anti-gun in the sense that I am anti-gun violence. I am anti, children dying in mass for no reason. But I understand, like, that's not something feasible. Like, if I ever ran for something, a lot of people got to get cool with a lot of shit super, super quickly.
To agree with you.
It's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
It's just never going to happen.
That's my very favorite Joe Rogan quote. Of all the stuff he said, my favorite one is, there's not a gun issue in this country as much as there's a mental health issue in this country. That's one of my favorite things he ever said. And it's so applicable to every mass shooting. Yeah. Every mass shooting, the toxicology reports they were all on some kind of fucking amphetamine. Or some
or had some form of
what's
depression.
The generalization of a neurological a pill for neurological issues.
Yeah.
They're either on a pill that's helping with neurological issues, Or meth.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy. They're all fucked up.
Yeah, and honestly, I feel like my opinion on guns really changed when I did see a video of a possible school shooting that happened in Texas, because it was just this little guy, just a high schooler, you know, came in with this stereotypical shooter jacket, had a fucking shotgun, and a teacher walked out of the bathroom, saw him exactly, and all he did was say, "Hey, put the gun down. We're gonna figure this out together.
Yeah.
Don't make this mistake. You've already made a mistake. Don't make it worse."
Yeah.
And he just hugged him.
Yeah, and holds him there until somebody comes and grabs
Exactly.
that gun from him.
And like the police came and immediately was trying to like yank him from his arms, and he was like, "Hey,"
and the cop and the teacher was like, "Whoa, relax,
right?
Like we
chill
can do this the right way."
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like,
Keep everybody safe. We don't have to hurt this child. We need to help this child.
And then that goes back to like even like the Walmart shooting, the amount of people who are like, if I would have been there, things would have been different. And it's like the only thing different is another kid would be fucking dead.
Yeah.
Well, and the reality of that too is like there were people there with guns, and they didn't immediately be like, "Oh, I'm going to handle business." They did what they should have done, which was evacuate the building.
Yeah.
That gun really in your pocket is like, for what you said, like last line of defense.
Yeah.
I'm in a
I'm
corner.
hiding
I
in
can't
that
get
scenario.
out.
I'm not trying to shoot someone.
Exactly.
You know what happens when you try and shoot someone? You hit someone else.
Yeah. And that's what I mean by like those same people who are like, "You want to take my guns away." I've never said that, but the way you're acting by me saying this, I 100% think you are one of the people who should not have a gun. The fact that you're like, "I will kill you before you touch my gun," and I'm like, okay, you definitely should not have a gun.
Yeah.
Because I'm nobody who's a threat to you. Like, if I was, like, the president or something like that, I'm like, "I'm coming for your guns," yeah, you have a point. Like, I'm going to defend myself, but I'm just the guy who's like, "Hey, I want to see people not die."
Yeah.
You know, I'm not somebody who's wants to control you, dictate what you do or how you think. I just want people to be safe. Like, I just want people to stop dying.
That's unreasonable.
Right, exactly. Like,
I love these podcasts with you, Alejandro. These are great podcasts.
Deep thoughts.
Not a joke. I mean it.
Yeah.
I know we laughed, but I mean it.
It's just because
they're great conversations.
It's because it's so crazy how refreshing it is just to hear somebody just... Because even I like talking to you guys, because again, you guys give me a good perspective of like the person who isn't as obsessed with politics like as I am.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
consuming 5 hours of politics every
and we
single
don't
day.
really like Mexicans, so like it's.
I think
We're able to really mix boundaries here.
Exactly. I came to the whitey side. You guys came to our side.
you
I
had
love
me,
when people will hear that and be
Yeah.
like, "Damn, those guys don't like Mexicans."
you had me on your side as soon as you said Metallica or whatever you said about screamo music.
Oh yeah, as soon as you condemned the screamos, Craig was like, "Yep, that's one of them good browns."
No, I mean, I enjoy this. This is like this, and like every time I go and visit my mom and stepdad is like my political refresher. So, you know, it's two varying different sides, but it's good.
I love talking to my grandma like that because she's definitely more conservative, but she's like very open to the other side and always going to like state the other side's issues with the thing she's trying to support and why she supports it over that other thing.
Honestly, what I think makes a good Republican right now is someone who's willing to admit that some things are going wrong.
Yeah.
Like, anybody who's like has been like, "I'm unhappy with this that's going on right now," I'm like, you are such a reasonable person. Like, we can actually have a conversation. Because you have people, like, you show them, like, even with the whole Iran thing, in 2016, or I think it was 2016 or 2020, Trump was like, if a president goes to war with Iran, that just means they're weak, dumb, and stupid. Like, you can play back things that he, even with, like, sending the National Guard into Los Angeles.
I'll never be able to run for office. Just this episode. The jokes, the dumb statements I've said just to be, like, edgy and silly would be the things, not that that's what he's, I'm not attributing it to that.
Yeah.
But I'm saying it's so easy to go back and just ruin somebody's life.
Yeah.
Like Joe Rogan saying the N-word 70 times.
and it's something that I tell people, too, like a lot of people who are like, "You're just a woke dumbass." I'm like, dude, when I was in middle school, I used to also say the N-word all the time.
Yeah.
I was Mexican.
I remember.
Right.
We were there.
Yeah, I was a poor Mexican guy living in a neighborhood with like poor black people and poor Mexicans. Like, it was just something that got thrown around. It wasn't until I got older that I was like, man, there's kind of like something wrong with this, you know?
Yeah.
But I'm able to like, when you call people out on their ignorance, they get so offended, so defensive, and the fact that you're saying, "Hey, you deserve to be called out on this," makes them double down on it. Instead of just saying, "Hey, I'm a person who can make a mistake and did make a mistake, and I can just learn and change it from it." Because I don't go around saying the N-word anymore, you know? But I'm never gonna sit here and lie and be like, I've never been racist. I've never done this stuff. Like, you know, like that's just ignorant. That'd
Never,
be dumb.
ever. You're perfect, Alejandro.
Exactly.
You've never done anything.
Exactly. I've never done anything wrong, but like,
I'll push that narrative.
like people just need to focus more on the similarities that we have, because I feel like those aren't. I've been to the Republican meetings around here, and the same thing I said to the Democrats were the same things I said to the Republicans. Only one side was like, hey, I'm willing to at least work with you.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm labeled as a Democrat, because I said, hey, I think people shouldn't be dying to guns. I think people should have some kind of health care and mental health care. And I think, you know, rent and food should be affordable.
Yes.
And that was enough to get me labeled as, like, a communist, as a radical. And I'm just like, because even that same person who I had that
To be
conversation.
fair,
Even that same person I had that conversation about with the crypto and stuff like that, he's like, I'm not. I was like, I would love to sit down and have a conversation with you because you have opposing views than I do. He's like, I'm not the opposition. I'm just a Democrat from 10 years ago. And I'm like, dude, I'm a leftist from forever. Like the leftist ideology from the beginning to now was kind of the exact same way. The only difference is that we used to be called left, and we're called radical left, and now we're called extremists, communists, and all this good stuff. But those positions haven't changed. When you say that you're a Democrat has been moving more to the right. Like the right is now far right, but they're just called the right. The Democrats are still just the right. And then the actual leftist communism is just the true left. So it's hard getting people to come to the middle, because at the end of the middle right now leans more to the right.
Right.
yeah.
Until we get to the actual like middle ground, which is where we're at, where most people are at, they just can't accept the fact of being told that you're in the middle.
Yeah, well, it's the Louis C.K. thing with the CNN lady. It's people who are liberal don't want to admit that, like, most Republicans don't give a shit if you're gay or trans anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
That's, like, it's a non-issue, and they're making it the face of the issue
Exactly.
to make people think that, like, everyone hates those people, when in reality, we just don't care about it anymore.
Yeah.
Like, everyone's got a gay or lesbian niece or nephew or cousin or brother or sister or fucking parents.
Yeah.
Like, everybody, there's too many gay people now.
Especially because, like, even when they make, like, anti-trans media now, like, it's so offensive. Like, Daily Wire did that movie where the guys went into the women's basketball league and they became, like, the champions immediately.
Yeah.
They
And I'm
made
like,
that movie?
Yeah, the
That's
Daily Wire.
incredible.
And I think
Sounds
it's so
like
funny because it's a bunch of, like, 40-year-old white men who, like, their peak of basketball was, like, high school basketball.
Yeah.
And they're going to pretend that these guys are dunking on WNBA players. Like, you're not going to do that. You're just not going to win. Like, like, even my brother has a similar shit. I'll beat the shit out of any woman. Dude, I know at least 5 women who can kick your ass.
Yeah.
Like, regardless of... And they're not these big, butch, manly-looking women. They're just women who could beat the shit out of you, regardless of how you feel about it.
The problem is there's nuance there.
Yes.
Like, sure, that situation's ridiculous. But then, like, Leah Thomas was a professional male swimmer who transitioned into a girl and annihilated every woman in swimming. And so, like, there's, like, arguments for both sides.
Yeah,
And then you have, in the Olympics, you have this, like, biological male go beat the fuck out of women in boxing. And, like, punish in one round, knock them out, give them brain injuries.
Well, she wasn't even a biological male, though. She was...
She has testes.
She had a losing streak, and she's from a country to where if she was a biological male, she would be imprisoned. She would not be allowed to participate in those things. She had higher testosterone levels in most prisons. She was definitely had... That's where that's
they
where
ended
the
up
issue,
testing her, and medically, she had testes still.
but she was
like-
a woman at the end of the day. Because you even have this issue that recently happened. You had a trans man go into a women's bathroom, and as soon as they walked out, they assaulted and beat that person almost to death.
Yeah.
And it's like, what do you want me to do? I'm trying to follow your binary that you have that doesn't actually apply to the real world.
Yeah.
There is, like, intersex people just exist. And that was something that you saw in legislation where somebody was like, Jasmine Crockett called out somebody because they were like, how do you expect intersex people? And the Republican legislator was like, we don't listen to mythology around here. And she's like, no.
Oh my God.
They're like, no, this is a real
Who
thing.
said that?
I cannot remember the name of it.
Was it Ralph Norman?
No. No, you'd actually have to show up.
Hear that, Ralph? You bitch. Sorry. I knew nothing about Ralph Norman. It felt like a good bitch.
Yeah.
Movie.
But yeah, like they were like, and like It was on the mic where the person who was there, they were like, intersex people are real. Like, you need to look it up. And the person's like, we just are not informed enough about this. And it's like, that's the point. That's the point.
That's definitely the better
That's
take
the
on
better
that.
response.
You should respond with that statement.
You
We're
don't
not here to
know
respond
what
to
you were talking about.
What do you say, mythological creatures?
Yes.
Is that what it was?
Mythology.
Yeah, we don't
That's
listen to
wild.
mythology. Yeah, it's just because you are so
wrote that?
uninformed. Intersex people exist. Like, it's something that just happens. Like, there are men.
The problem is the extreme, because
Yes.
the extreme situation is like, in terms of like the bathrooms, is there are definitely predators who will take advantage and go like be around little girls in the bathroom.
Yeah, for sure.
Like that exists, and that's crazy, and that will always be the argument for the people that never want to budge. And you can't always stick to that one thing because it's not nuanced at all.
Right.
But it's like,
especially because like a bathroom sign is not going to stop somebody who wants to rape
Yeah.
somebody. Like, it's gonna
Sure.
like if that
Yeah.
person has that plan already in mind.
Well, the problem is prisons now.
Yeah.
Because you have these dudes just literally not taking any hormones, no blockers, no nothing, just claiming to be women. I'm a woman. And they put them in a female's prison. And, like, the legislation in LA allows that, and, like, there's 25 pregnant women from this one. And the funniest part about the whole thing is all the women and that dude are having a blast. They've been wanting dick, and he's been wanting to fuck. And he just goes in there, this, like, stud in a room full of cows, like, in a breeding pen. And they're all like, yeah, let's do it. It's going to get us out of prison. It's crazy.
But even with that situation, like, it's frustrating because, like you said, they're all in there having fun.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's definitely a situation that shouldn't
Well,
happen.
they're supposed to be punished. They're
Exactly.
criminals. They shouldn't be having fun.
Exactly. But, you know, the worry of, like, there can be men that take advantage of that. There are prison guards now that take advantage of that.
Been doing
And why is that not an issue?
Exactly.
Because one of the big things that also with those protests where they were like, these illegals, one person was like, the last tragedy to happen in Lancaster was those 6 boys who killed that one lady.
Yeah.
And I'm like, look, that was a tragedy.
It's not the last one.
And
It's
it
not
definitely
the last
wasn't.
one.
Since that happened, we had 1 murder in Lancaster, 2 attempted murders in Lancaster. We had a person get arrested for having child pornography and child abuse. And we had a Republican House representative get charged by the FBI for child pornography. Since that happened. And did we hear anything about that? How many people made noise about that? How many people argued
Well,
about
I've been
that?
hearing a lot about that last one.
Yeah. Well, now it's
Me personally.
now it's becoming more relevant in the news. But this is something that happened a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Like, and not to take away from the,
The
death of
scariest
that
thing
woman.
about that specific thing, the child pornography on that is more and more happening to way more people that it doesn't make any sense that not necessarily this guy because I don't know anything about him,
Mm-hmm.
but it's incredibly easy to put hundreds of hours of child pornography on like a 64 gig flash drive and like infect someone's computer with it.
Yeah.
And then just claim it. Call the police, say, hey, this guy's got child porn. And then you go investigate, and if he could have no idea it's there. And then they have like software that finds it really fast. That is like so scary. I'm not saying that's what's happened to this guy.
Right.
But it's definitely happened to people because they've now started finding it through surveillance, through tampering. They're realizing like how it got onto that computer because you can trace that.
Yeah.
But the problem is half the time no one gets that far because they find the child porn and they fucking destroy you. And you get ridiculed by everyone and it ruins people's careers and reputations. And that is a very scary, and again, I don't know anything about this guy.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it's happened so much to people in politics over the last like 4 or 5 years that it's too ridiculous a new occurrence for people to have hundreds of gigabytes of child porn. I watch porn a lot. I've been watching porn for 15 years. I have not seen. I don't know if I've ever seen that many hours of porn in all of my porn watching. These guys have that much saved to their computers this often, and they're all in politics. I'm not saying. Obviously, like Epstein's Island was real, and that was a situation.
Right.
Clearly, that was real. I'm not saying it isn't. I don't think this many local politicians all over the country, red and blue, all have a bunch of child porn on their computers. It's one of the biggest, I think it's becoming one of the biggest psyops as like a weaponized idea to use against people and to defame them and to destroy their good points way ahead of the game.
Tomorrow, Charlie will be like found with
Right?
child porn
Well,
on his
literally,
computer.
my next statement was going to be like, Alejandro's going to make moves and kill it politically over the next 3 or 4 years, just locally. If all you ever want to do in your political career is affect local change, fuck the big the grand scheme of things in the country, because nothing really ever changes.
Yeah.
But if you can affect your local politics, that's a big deal. But if somebody knows how to fuck you, they're gonna. And they're gonna put that shit on your laptop and ruin you. And, like, I've known Alejandro for I've known him since I was a kid. That you don't do that,
Right.
but like that doesn't matter, because they're gonna, if someone did it, that's who you are now.
Yeah.
And that's what's happened to so many of these politicians and just people in general, people at all. I'm not saying they all did.
Right, right.
I've known people. I knew one person in particular that got arrested for it, and I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
I know that guy, and doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
Is it the same person we're both thinking?
Probably.
It might be the same person we're all three thinking, because the person I'm thinking of is around your guys' age.
No.
Okay.
Oh, really?
This was
Yeah,
an older
there's
person.
somebody
I have no
that's
idea who you're
our
talking about.
Yeah.
Now I'm scared.
Yeah, there's-
who are you talking about? Well,
yeah.
Off air.
Yeah, off air.
We should wrap this up. We're 2:20.
Yeah, we are.
All right.
But yes, thank you guys again for having me on.
We love
now
you.
that I have a somewhat production crew behind me, videos are coming out soon. One thing I did want to make sure I promoted on here is I recently started a new group on Facebook called Comunidad Latina de Lancaster.
Unacceptable.
It's just a way to keep the Latino community put together. Let us know what's going on, especially because I just found out that different areas here in South Carolina have now signed contracts with ICE. A lot of them around us. It's a 280.
ICE has contract?
Yes, it's a 287A. I might be mixing those numbers. I know it's 287. I don't know what order. Again, dyslexic. So it's one of those numbers in that order. It's either 827 or 287.
Sounds like you're about to rap. Like,
But so there's 3 different kinds of contracts you can sign underneath it. York County and Kershaw County have one signed with them, and Lancaster has one signed with it. York County and Kershaw County signed one where their ICE agents can act as ICE agents. They can immediately start the deportation process if you get stopped in York or Kershaw County. Ooh. In Lancaster right now, we have a warrant-based contract where the police of Lancaster are being trained to become ICE agents by executing ICE warrants right now. So it's a little less dangerous in the city of Lancaster because they're just doing warrants. There's no plans of like roundups or anything like that. But in the areas around us, there are plans of roundups. There are plans of checkpoints. There are plans of deporting people for just being people. We even started in Charlotte. In Charlotte, they just had a mass raid on some construction sites, got 60 people out of here. People we went to high school have been deported. People you guys know have been deported now.
Damn.
So that's definitely something that's the point of the group, try to keep the Latino community together and informed. But yeah, other than that, just if you want to participate in anything, you want to know how to get involved. No King's Protest, I believe they're doing a part 2 coming soon. So keep an eye out for that. And again, if anybody wants to get involved, reach out to me, kicksagain@yahoo or gmail.com. I'm always willing to talk and work with anybody who wants to do something.
Any upcoming events for you specifically?
So at the moment, the events that I have are community specific. We're doing a basketball competition for some kids, and we're doing a gardening thing for the kids. So it's very community specific. If you want to come out and volunteer for those things, that'd be more than awesome. Because we need somebody like a nurse type person. We need donations. So anybody who's willing to donate money to the cause, this won't be going directly to me. It would go to either the nonprofit or the Lancaster County Democratic Party, and that's how we'll use those funds. It's not like you're just giving me money and trusting that I do something with it. It'll go to an actual organization, and you can see what those dollars do, how they're being used.
Cool. All right.
Oh, yeah.
Anything you want to add, Charlie? Any upcoming events for you?
No.
Some good sleep.
Yeah, I'm about to sleep like a motherfucker.
In the next couple weeks, I'm going to try to get those. I know I've been saying this. I'm going to try to get those episodes on my phone. Plus, we've already recorded some new content, so the episode upload should be going back to being consistent in what it was. You can catch us every Sunday around 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, premiering new episodes. This episode should be going up this coming Sunday.
Okay.
I wanted this one to go up very fast because the No King's Protest is very relevant. Your top, all the stuff going on is very relevant to what is going on around us. So that's going to go up pretty fast. And catch you guys next time. Thank you for watching. For Charlie, I'm Creighton. Thank you for coming on, Alejandro.
Thank you, guys.